Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening. And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. There's a lot of things that are going on right now. We got things popping off. There has been an appearance by Gloria Allred already. We are here to do this status hearing watch party. We are here to see what is going to happen, what's going to go and get on and popping here in just a little bit. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what's going on out here. Okay? So do me a favor, because I told you we'd be back. We'd be back with another one. Because, I thought it was going to be earlier today. They moved the time, and now it's about to go down. Okay? So do me a favor, before we get into everything, get comfortable. It's time to get into some things. We're going to look at something that just recently happened. I was just watching it, while I was getting things set up, getting everything nice and properly prepared. But do me a favor, okay? While we get things on and popping, okay? Oh, snap. Let's not forget this right here. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me make sure I got that going. So do me a favor, hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Okay? Hit that like button down below. One more thing. Let me try this. Nope. Okay. Sorry about that. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make it do what it do. Okay? Hopefully we'll be having some friends visiting us throughout the show, throughout this live watch. It's going to be very, very interesting nonetheless. So hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button. Don't forget to do that if you're watching on all these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble. Hit that follow button. Follow on those platforms, okay? We're at 100 followers on Rumble, which is kind of dope. Appreciate you guys following over there, okay? And being a part of the craziness that is this show. But please, don't forget to hit the follow. Hit the subscribe button here on my main channel, please and thank you. Subscribe. Okay? Go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Crush that subscribe button over there as well. The Pascal Show Clips. That'd be amazing. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my other platforms if you want to support in any other way. You can go to locals.com/The Pascal Show. And you can also go to patreon.com/The Pascal Show. It's the ticker down below. And of course, check out pascalmerch.com. We got some really great merch, guys. Some fantastical merch. Okay. Now, here's the thing. We are in the middle of they have started the status hearing. Okay. And so we are here to watch all of that. Now, just a little bit ago, which I need to queue up, but just a little bit ago, trying to pull this up so we have it, okay? Just a little bit ago, we had by Gloria Allred as we walked into this courthouse. So I wanted to play a little bit of that while you guys are getting in, you know what I mean? While you guys are getting comfortable, okay? While you guys are getting comfy and all that, I wanted to play that for you guys really quick while we listen and get more info on and popping. Okay. So let me grab that really quick and then we'll play that, because this is what's going on outside of the courthouse right when this whole thing is about to get started. Okay. Because it starts in about 30 minutes from now. Okay. So hold on, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are very interested to see a swarm of media got all up in her face, like got it in her face, which is crazy. Okay. So let's take a look at this, shall we? Whoa. Shout out to Long Crime for the footage too. Huge shout out to Long Crime.
Gloria, you're a champion, Gloria.
What do you hope to accomplish today?
You're a champion,
What do
Gloria.
you hope to accomplish today, Court? What do you hope happens? The outcome?
I like to learn what's happening. And know exactly what's happening. To understand. And some of them, it may help.
And how many victims are you representing in this case?
How are the victims that you're representing? How are they doing?
It is a little difficult, obviously, but she does say some things in here that you can kind of get a little bit. But she's here.
How strong is your case against Diddy?
And what's also interesting about this, by the way, guys, is that with Gloria Allred, allegedly she's not only representing one person, she's allegedly representing others as well. So, you know, we know about Thalia Graves. I'm kind of curious if she's telling the truth or not, the Thalia Graves, because of this blackmailing and these text messages that were put out here. I am quite curious about it. But nonetheless, she is still out here representing allegedly other people, which is very, very interesting. Okay. It's still going. It's just, you know, like I said, it's outside. It's the internet. You know how it is. It's not us. You can see the ticker still going down, still moving down below the lower third. It's still moving. So it's weird. Let's see. Let me just move it up a little bit. There we go.
How dangerous would it be if you got out?
And his attorneys are suggesting 24/7 surveillance. Do you think that would help? I mean, if he were released, his argument was that he was released on bail and provided a very substantial $50 million bond. And if his phones were taken, that he could be released. It would not be a danger to the community. The judge was not satisfied with that, and therefore did not release him.
Do you think there's a chance that Diddy could be released today on bail?
Let's see what this new judge has to say.
Are you fearful of having
But that would be his third.
right?
The first two were not.
It'll be whack as hell.
Unusual for him to have received a new judge in this case.
What does it mean to go against someone who has such financial means as Diddy? Well, for any victim, knowing that person they allege abused them, hurt them in some way, sexually assaulted them, to know that he's rich and powerful and famous, to know that he is the one that's recognizable by the world and could use his celebrity power in some way, they should be worried. But that's the job of
Gloria,
those
you're
who
a
support
champion
them,
for victims.
to help them to have confidence that they're doing the right thing. And this is a path to justice.
Are you meeting with prosecutors today? Are you meeting with prosecutors today?
You're a champion for victims' rights, Gloria. Thank you for helping get those New York laws right. Thank you for helping Drew Dixon.
Whew. Okay.
Gloria, you're a champion for victims' rights, Gloria. God bless you.
Okay. So just so for those of y'all who are watching on the TikTok, watching on other places, okay, so huge, big time powerhouse of a lawyer, Gloria Allred, has shown up just a little while. Just a little while ago. I'm playing kind of a replay of what just recently happened. Okay, she showed up. She said some things. She had some things to say, and I will say that, of course, she's going to be trying to be a cheerleader and trying to be a soldier for the clients that she has. Now, this is something that's very interesting as well. We're now hearing, and she said this during the press conference as well, that there are other victims that are stepping forward that she is going to be representing as well. So we already know that there's more coming from Gloria Allred's own law firm. Okay. Now, let me just put this up to live just to see where it's at. And so far, nothing. Okay. But nonetheless, it is very interesting to see that Gloria Allred is showing up. And she should, I think, because this whole situation matters. You got to remember this particular hearing could change the trajectory of this trial. There's a good possibility that this man could walk. I'm not kidding. There's a possibility that this man could walk out free. Now, doesn't mean that he still isn't going to catch charges. It just means he's going to be set free. Now, do we want him set free? In fact, I should put up a poll. Let me put up a poll real quick because I know all y'all like, put it up a poll, Pascal. So let me do it real quick. Let me put up a poll real quick, all right? And then y'all better get your asses to the poll, okay? But I want to see what you guys think, okay? And I'm putting up in here, do you think the judge will, so you guys can talk about this in the chat on TikTok as well. Okay, so the question is, do you think the judge will grant Diddy bail? Question mark. Yeah, I think so. Hold on. Hell nah. Keep him in. No. Hell no. That's good enough. And then let me add one more option. IDK, which means I don't know. Okay? Just to make this abundantly clear, because some of you guys will be like, what's IDK? IDK means I don't know. Here goes the poll. It has been submitted into YouTube. So if you are watching on other platforms, make sure to go over to the YouTubes and put in your thoughts. Okay? Do you think the judge, this new judge, will grant this mother-loving diddler? Sorry. Let me try to keep it very news anchorish. Okay? Do you think the new judge will grant him bail? The poll is posted to the top of the YouTube chat. Okay? Let me know what your thoughts are. I think this is going to be very interesting. Nonetheless, this is going to be interesting. Now, I'm wondering what's going on over there. Don't you see what's going on, right? Apparently there was a squirrel that was just running amok around there and acting a damn fool. Maybe that was one of Diddy's counsel. Maybe that was. You never know. Okay, got to use that. That's a joke, guys. It's a joke. He doesn't have animals working for him. Maybe he does have animals working for him, because apparently those puppy parties are something else, right? But all jokes aside, he's not using squirrels. I'm sorry, somebody out here is going to be like, yeah, he using the squirrels and the aliens, man. Aliens. No, chill. It's okay. It's okay. Hold on. But he's having a status hearing right now, okay? Or in about a little over 20 minutes from now, okay? And in this particular status hearing, they're talking about certain things that have been presented. There's certain things that he wants to have taken off. He wants to allegedly, he wants a gag order implemented in this situation as well. So there's a lot that's going on with this particular situation. And of course, like I said, I'm looking forward to having some friends on the show here soon, okay, to kind of give us a breakdown of what's going on. Now, JVO on TikTok said, will it be on TV? That is a very good question. Long Crime is not on TV from last I checked, or they're not on TV anymore. They are just online. Now, is any other place like Court TV, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, CBS? Don't know. Not that I know of, okay? But we are watching from the curb, okay? And in fact, ain't that funny? See right there? Hold on, I got to pause that really quick because he was on our show. There's Relentless Aaron right there. Hey! Relentless Aaron, or DeWitt Gilmore. He wrote a book called The Night Puff Tried to Kill Me. He is literally out there. He's out there on the streets right now as we speak. Wow. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Okay. So Court TV, yeah. Okay. So Court TV is doing something. Maybe they are broadcasting it on the telly. But that is DeWitt right there. Ain't that crazy? He's letting people know about his book, his memoir. Okay. Or his novella, if you will, because isn't a novella between 60 to 120 pages? Why do I even know that? I don't know. Don't ask me. Okay. But it's a novella, a memoir, if you will. Okay. Very good book, by the way. Very shocking. But let's get this back up to alive. Okay. Now, give me a second, guys, because you know I am conversating with many friends and family. But yes, let's see what's going on. Let's unmute this real quick. And by the way, nothing has happened yet. Nothing has started yet. You got to understand that. They ain't started this. They haven't started the hearing at all. It doesn't start for 20 minutes. And it's already absolute chaos outside. Everybody with their phones and their cameras and their phones. It's crazy.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Let me check something here too while we're watching this. Let me just check something here. Yeah, I think the only place that's actually streaming this right now as we speak. And who is this? Who is showing up?
Okay. All right, you got Ebony with you? Okay.
Please, any message you want to send your father?
Family.
Have you guys spoken to your father?
Quincy.
Wow.
Take care of those girls.
The Combs clan.
What do you want to say about your
Take care of
father?
those girls.
Your father?
Yeah, those are his kids.
Guys, stay together.
That's his mama. That's there. That's his whole clan right there. Wow. No, his daughters. Yeah, those are his daughters. It's not just one. He has many kids. 7, if I'm correct. That's crazy. Okay, dang.
I don't understand why all these people like.
Man, oh man. Woo! This is some crazy stuff, though, guys. We're still waiting because obviously the hearing has not commenced. Okay. But we're here to watch it as people start to enter. So now you have the whole Combs clan up in this piece. Okay.
I got a track for in the car.
We just saw Gloria Allred, and we have the whole Combs clan showing up.
Go New York.
No, I mean, some people are asking, like, why is there a dog there? I get it. You never know. People are crazy. Bring that sniffer dog in here. Come on now. Yeah, dog. Let's see, how many votes do we have so far on this? Come on, guys, let's get it to 1,000. And also, if you guys can, okay, because your boy's working hard out here in these streets, all right? So please hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do. If you're watching on other platforms, please be sure to hit that reaction button, show some love. You're saying, okay, Sinbad 2010 on TikTok is saying that Court TV is going to do something at 2 p.m. Maybe they're doing something at 2 p.m. on TV, but I don't see anything online right now on the tubes, on the YouTubes. But still, no matter what, I mean, shoot, it doesn't matter. We here, we watching, and if it does pop up, you know for a fact your boy's gonna find it. Okay, so we were going, or at least I'll try to find it. That's a lot of pressure for me to sit there and say I'm gonna find it, right? But again, please be sure to tune in because it's gonna be on in about 14 minutes, or their hearing is going to be on in about 14 minutes. Now, this is not going to be something that will be on camera. Okay, we will not see cameras inside the courtroom because this is federal. Just so you know. And Sia, thank you so much. Okay, you're awesome, and I love your music, Sia. You're not that Sia, are you? I want to swing from the chandelier. No, are you or are you not? I'm kidding. I know you're not that Sia, but hey, love your soul, love your energy, and I appreciate the positivity. Thank you. Okay. On TikTok, I'm talking to TikTok. It's not like I'm talking to an imaginary friend. Okay, guys that are watching up here. Yeah, I'm not talking to an imaginary friend. I swear to God. All right. I do that when the show is over. But anyway, hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other places. Please and thank you. Family is everything. What's up on TikTok? What's good? Let's get the likes up to 1,000 likes. I see a bunch of y'all on the TikTok. Show some love. Hit that like button, okay? Crush it. Send it all the way back up. All right. Don't forget to subscribe. We're in the 147,000 subscribers. Is amazing. I'm trying to get to 150. So if you can hit that subscribe, that would be amazing.
Are you out here being a good dog? Huh? Oh, I see it right there. How long has Rosalind been a dog? Canine. See, I got my dog.
Not a dog. It's a puppy.
Hi. How long did you say?
Let's see. I'm reading your comments here, though, real quick. Here, I'm going to mute this because, I mean, you know, they're just like, oh, my God, a dog. Yeah, it's a dog. Kira said, Snuffleupagus. Deep. Tremendous. Moving on. As we wait, because I don't know why the cameraman is just chilling on the dog, you know? Oh my God, look at the dog, right? But it's like, okay, now back to the story, right? CJ says Nancy Grace will let it rip tonight. Now, she's been on it. Okay, for sure. She been on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nancy Grace has a new show today based on Diddy, and rightfully so. Let Nancy Grace. You know what I'm saying? It's Nancy Grace, for crying out loud. Like I said, it's Nancy Grace. You know what I mean? That's amazing. You know? Let her do her thing. Let her cook. You feel me? Yeah, I don't know why Long Crime is all up in the dog. Hold on. Let me just see if there's something else, because it's like they ain't got nothing else better to shoot, so they're just shooting the dog. Hold on. Let me just see if there's anything else. Because, you know, we definitely would like to. Nope, it's just honestly, it's just Long Crime for right now. There is Associated Press. They have their own going on, but it looks like it's very. I mean, we could pull that up. It won't hurt nobody to go and look at that for a second. But they out here chilling in the cut too. But they're not. They're not as active as Long Crime shooting dogs and stuff. You know what I mean? But let me pull up. Let me pull up Associated Press for a second. Let's just see what they present. Because again, we got 10 minutes until they do anything. So let's just see. Pulling this up right about now. Let's see that. See, and it's a stationary shot. They're chilling. But it looks like they have a decent spot when the lawyers do come out and speak. Because you know for a fact, Diddy's lawyers are going to come out and speak. For sure. Okay? And yeah, Deb D, I definitely agree. She is for sure watching. Because let's be real, this is a step closer to the justice that he's trying to seek as well. If his claims are true, right? So again, he definitely watching. He watching. Okay. Let's see. Continuing on. I'm just reading your comments. Yeah, we're still waiting. They might be. I don't know. Like I said, it might be more exciting to watch. It might be more exciting to watch the dog. I guess that might be more exciting. The doggo. Let's see. Maybe Long Crime has the right idea, you know? But still, shout out to Associated Press and to Long Crime. And I'm going to keep an eye on both of them just in case, because you never know. Long Crime might not have the best shot or the best sound, and vice versa. Associated Press might not have the best sound or the best shot either. So I'm going to keep an eye out for things. There's a bunch, like just looking at Associated Press, their feed, there's a lot of news over there for sure. So, when they come out after this whole thing, it's going to be wild. And there's going to be a lot of info, a lot of things to talk about. Okay. But I'll let this on. We see some of these super chats here really quick. Okay. Swim Blue Water. Let me just mute this. Hey, Pascal, thanks for the party. Mims. Okay. Last live shows expanded versions of Thalia's text. Mims. I don't know who Mims is, but okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. Expanded versions of Talia's text. Okay, I'm interested in seeing that for sure. Media is not showing on purpose. The boyfriend agreed to help and then backed off. Well, that's a little bit of like a tiny bit. You know what I mean? That's a little bit. Okay. But make sense is the platform. And he's also been doing some really great coverage on this whole case as well. It's him. It's also Tissa Tells. Okay. Another platform that's been doing a really great job. It's been, I don't know when she sleeps, because it's been consistent, like bang, 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 with all the information she's been coming out with as well. She has some really great stuff as well. So thank you so much, Swim. I appreciate that. S-Dubs, Ducho Mose, ever get out? I don't know who Ducho Mose is. Ever get out on bail? I don't know who that is. Okay. Question. But definitely hit that like. And I'm just confused about Ducho Mose. But thank you. Okay. Okay. But thank you. I appreciate it. Hit that like button though. Nikki, thank you so much. When is the trial going to start for all cases? Woo! They're all going to be different. Just so you know, they're all going to be different. Allegedly, they are aiming, at least for Diddy's trial, the stuff that he's looking at federally. Allegedly, they are pushing for the spring, like March, April time. So he wants to do something very, very soon. And just so you all know, he wants to do something very soon. He doesn't want to sit in there. And I get it. He does not want to be in there, okay, at all. Hence the reason why he's like, man, I will move mountains, man. Take my house, take my mama's house, take my freedom. Shoot, you can even take my weed whacker. I won't touch no women. I won't do nothing, no substances. You can check on me 15 times a day. Take my freedom, but don't take my freedom. That's literally what he's doing right now. Okay? I'm not a flight risk. You can take my planes. That's literally what he's doing, right? So, yes, I said weed whacker. That's the only thing I can think of without, you got kids in the room. Except your kid is going, Mommy, what's a weed whacker? And you go, Pascal. And you'll just have to explain to them that it is a tool that you use to mow and use for the lawn. That's all you got to say. See, I did you a favor. And then now they're savvy to gardening tools, gardening machinery. How about that? Think about that. Kid is now advanced because they're going to be like, weed whacker. You see, I'm doing you favors. Kids are advancing their vocabulary. Just so you know, you're welcome. But as far as all the cases, that's going to be a long time from now. There's going to be a lot of them coming up. If they actually do see the inside of a courtroom, they will be coming, and they'll be coming in time. Okay? Just so you know. But thank you, Nikki, for that question. Because that's a very broad question. There could be one starting tomorrow. You never know. You know what I mean? There's so many cases that haven't even been filed yet that we're still waiting on as well. Over 120 plus allegedly victims. And if they all get through, okay, if they all get through, they all have to pick a date, right? And then Diddy, or at least somebody representing Diddy, has to be in that room for those trials. So yeah, that's gonna be a little while. And we could be hearing about these things for years, consistently for years, guys. Think about that for a second, okay? Tired as a mother. Thank you so much for gifting one member. And for the one who became a member, welcome to the family. By the way, this is all I ask every single time that somebody gets a little bit of love, okay, a little positivity, like a membership from one of the members, and also, a great contributor to the show as well. Please do me a favor, pay it forward. Take that positivity, give it to somebody else, okay? And it's not like it's a disease, like you're like, take it. You know what I mean? Positive energy, meh. No, I'm not saying that. Just open the door for somebody. Do something nice for somebody. That's it. Call your mama. Call your dad. You know what? Dads don't get a whole lot of love. You know what I'm saying? We don't. I'm gonna speak on behalf of the fathers out here. You know what I mean? Call your dad. Be a little sappy. He might be like, bro, why are you being a little sappy and call me? I'm a man. But as soon as he hangs up, there's gonna be a little tear going down his face because he was happy, but he was covering it up because of all that oozing machismo. Think about it. Just pay it forward. That's all I'm saying, okay? Okay. Anyway, moving on. Janelle, thank you so much for the love. If they let him out, he will terrorize the nation. Why am I laughing? That is so intense. If he gets set free, he gonna terrorize the nation. Oh my God. That is very have mercy. But you you ain't wrong. You ain't wrong though. He may go out if he's set free, and he may go after everybody, even content creators. He may. Even more of a reason to keep him locked up, because I'm scared. Okay? I'm just being real. I haven't been on the gossip train. There's some platforms that just live on gossip, and that's fine. Do you? That's how you butter your bread. That's how you butter your bread. But at the same time, the ones that are out there just talking crazy, like a Jaguar Wright type thing, which we will talk about her in a second because we got time. Okay. Those types of people, I could see them getting attacked by Diddy because he'll have time and he'll have lawyers ready to take those people out. So it'll be interesting if he's set free. I really do not think it's going to happen that he's going to get set free. But I don't want that to deter you guys from voting over there. Okay. So like I said before, get your ass to the polls and put in your vote. Okay. Do you think the judge will grant him bail? Yeah, I think so. Hell no. Or IDK, like you don't know. Okay. So let's get into this. There's something going on. New graphics. This is interesting. Let's go.
Jesse Weber, and welcome to our special coverage here at Long
I like
Time
Jesse
of
Weber.
Sean Diddy Combs.
Let's go.
Today, the indicted rapper and music mogul will appear in Manhattan federal court for a status hearing. You're seeing a live shot outside of that federal courthouse right now, and it's important to set the stage about what's going to happen today. Well, first, I'll tell you what's happening with Combs. He's facing three serious federal charges: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, namely that he's leading a criminal enterprise using his business and associates to engage in all sorts of criminal activities, including using force, fraud, coercion to cause women to engage in sexual activity, including sex acts with male sex workers. These are those so-called freak-offs. So these are the charges he's facing. What's going to be happening today? It's an important hearing. This is where we believe that prosecutors and his defense attorneys will address some serious issues with the court, including discovery. There is apparently a voluminous amount of material in this case. According to the parties, they submitted a joint letter to the court talking about this. We're looking at several terabytes of electronic material, cell phones, laptops, business records, physical evidence, What those materials contain, we do not know yet, but it's being shared to the other side. And therefore, there's going to be questions of how long it will take to extract the data. Will it be turned over to the defense? How long it will take to be turned over to the defense? But it's also possible we can learn more about a potential trial date. It seems that Sean Combs wants this to happen in the spring of 2025. We may learn some other deadlines in this case. And there may also be an issue. So be on the lookout for this that we brought up. This defense filed last night something very interesting. They said they are looking for a hearing to determine if the government engaged in misconduct. More specifically, did the Department of Homeland Security, the agents that raided Sean Combs' properties, were they the ones who leaked the 2016 surveillance video that appears to show Combs beating his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura? It's quite the accusation, and we'll talk more about it. But to be clear, what we don't think is going to be brought up today is the issue of bail. Combs' defense attorneys, they've appealed his denial of bail, his pretrial detention, to a higher court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. We'll see how that shakes up. But I think there's going to be more issues that are pressing today. And what makes today's hearing also interesting is this is now in front of a new judge. The new judge assigned to Combs' case out of the Southern District of New York is the Honorable Arun Subramanian. So it'll be interesting to see how he now handles these matters in a very, very high-profile case. Now, unfortunately, although we have cameras outside the courthouse, there are no cameras allowed in federal court. I could talk day and night about how I think that's a mistake. That's a subject for a different day. But here's the thing we do have. Long Crimes Elizabeth Milner, she is in that courthouse right now. She's going to be in that courtroom. She will come out later, report back to us live about her observations from the day's proceedings. But we're also going to be following live updates of what is happening inside that courtroom. We're going to break it down for you. I have terrific guests. And also, we're going to take your questions. So if you have questions about what is happening in the Sean Combs case, if you have questions about what is happening today, submit them on YouTube. We will answer them for you right now. Okay. I have some great guests to talk about this. I have a great selection of guests that are coming out in the next couple hours.
Now, hold on really quick. We're gonna let him speak, okay? Because I think Jesse Weber's really great. Love his show Sidebar on Law and Crime. Definitely, guys, go and subscribe to him as well. But real quick, I'm gonna pause this so we can hear what they have to say. One thing that he said, and just a quick recap, okay, just for you guys who are late to the party, who are just showing up, so on and so forth. Number one, make sure you go to the poll, okay, that's pinned at the top of the family chat right now as we speak, and put in your vote. Do you think he will be granted bail? I know that this may not be on the table, on the docket for this hearing for today, but I am kind of curious as to what you think is going to go down here. But again, he's looking at some serious charges, which we already know, right? Now, according to Jesse Weber, there's a bunch of things that are being looked at. One of them mainly is the accusation that we talked about this morning of Diddy claiming, or at least his team is claiming, that the feds leaked that hotel video. One thing I'm still kind of curious about, and hopefully they address this here in this video or during this live, that if they find out proof positive, because they have to prove this without a shadow of a doubt, that some member of the department, some agent from the Department of Homeland Security leaked this video. If they're able to prove that, what does that mean for that footage, that evidence? What does it mean for this case, right? Does it mean that he can walk? Even though they've all seen the footage showing him put his hands on Cassie. That's something I'm very curious about. But what they're saying here is that this is not going to be a part, or at least the bail conversation may not be on the docket for this particular status hearing. Okay? They're talking about evidence. Apparently there's evidence, terabytes, by the way. Terabytes. This makes me think of pig vomit. Stephen Stearns. Remember Stephen Stearns, Madeline Soto, Janae Soto? Okay, may Madeline rest in peace, okay? But remember, he had a lot of content, right? Now we're looking at the same situation, if not augmented to even more for Diddy. Now, somebody, Bracha, just said, pig vomit. Let me explain something really quick. So there's this guy named Stephen Stearns, okay? He's an absolute disgusting little monster. He's the one who took the life of this young newly just turned 13-year-old girl by the name of Madeline Soto out in Florida. Okay. This happened a little while ago in February, if I'm correct. Now, I call him Pig Vomit. That is his nickname, my nickname to him, because he's disturbing and he's gross and the damn man is guilty. Okay. So that's who Pig Vomit is. Check it out. Go check out all the videos I've done covering Madeline Soto, Jen A, and Pig Vomit. It will be shocking and it will blow your mind. But back into this case here. All right. They're looking at a mountain of evidence, terabytes, okay, terabytes of data that apparently they're supposed to be getting. And if I'm correct, they're supposed to be getting it from the prosecution. That's one thing I didn't gather, I didn't pick up. And so I'm curious about that as well. Pretty crazy stuff. So not only is it going to be that, they're talking about all the other things. On top of, did some agent from DHS, Department of Homeland Security, leak this doggone footage? And again, hopefully he's going to ask that question, because that's the burning question I've been wanting to ask. That's why I was hoping to have Ed Herman to talk about it earlier on this morning show, but we didn't get to the question. And hopefully we'll have some really great legal friends on the show here in a little bit. The main burning question is, will this destroy the prosecution's case? Will they have to start from zero because of a technicality? Because of somebody else's idiot moves? That's the question that I have. Let's take a listen to him and see what he's got to say about all this and see what the lawyers have to say. Oops.
There's a lot of issues. This is the beginning part of the case, but a lot of preliminary issues that need to be worked out. What are you going to be looking for?
I think it's going to really boil down to a scheduling discussion. This judge is going to want to obviously show that he means business in terms of putting deadlines out and having them meet them. I think that the defense's urgency in this, in terms of bringing this case to trial, is expected. You know, he's in custody. He's going through hell. They want this case tried as soon as they can. But it's a case with significant discovery issues, terabytes of information, questions whether or not they're even going to be able to access some of this discovery. Imagine the timing of getting it and then the time it's going to take to go through every single piece of it from the defense perspective. The government's had this information for a while. The defense wants it tomorrow. And I think that, part and parcel of that, what'll happen today is the judge at least getting input from the parties, as he already has by way of a letter, how quick they want to try this case, what kind of deadlines they want to set, and how soon he can schedule those deadlines so they can be met.
So, Ava, I'm going to read you a portion of what the defense said in this joint letter to the court. And it says, the defense intends to ask the court to require the government to immediately produce certain categories of information, namely copies of Mr. Combs' electronic devices that were seized over 6 months ago and at the time of his arrest, and certain categories of requested Brady material, and to timely review and produce the remaining Rule 16 material in their possession. So what does that mean exactly?
Well, in regards to the Brady material, what that means is evidence that the prosecutors are going to potentially use against Combs. One of the things is he is able to, and also it's required that they produce all evidence to Combs that is going to be used against him. So he's able to evaluate it and prepare a proper defense.
And look, Brian, we don't know what this video evidence is, but the defense wants it. They want him, like you said, they want to go to trial. I mean, this is what they wrote in the letter. Mr. Combs continues to assert his right to a speedy trial and intends to request a trial date of April or May 2025, and as consistent with the court's trial schedule. That feels like around the corner when you're talking about terabytes and terabytes of information, and they are saying, we're putting the government's feet to the fire. We want all this material as soon as possible.
Now, really, really quick, I got to hop in and out of here, of course, but this is something I find interesting as well. This makes me think, and I know some of you guys are not savvy to the true crime realm of things or to other cases, but so real quick, just ride with me for a second. This also does make me think of Brian Kohberger. Now, hear me out. Allegedly, he had terabytes of content thousands and thousands of documents, pages, whatever you want to call it, right? Thousands and thousands of documents. His lawyer, which is, there's a rumor that his lawyer's not going to be with him anymore, but the lawyer that he had at the time, okay, was literally saying, I need more time. I need more time. There's not enough time to go through all this stuff, right? There's so many pieces of there's so many documents, so many videos, so many photos. Oh, I need more time. Me and my team will be working nonstop to be able to catch up and have enough time to be ready for this trial, especially with all the stuff that you're giving us as far as discovery, right? But Diddy's team, which by the way, I'm showing it right here, or I'll show it to you guys right here. Okay, he is saying right here, all right, he would spend at least 15 years in prison with the possibility of a life sentence. His attorneys are asking to go to trial quickly, requesting April or May of 2025. So this coming spring, this is what he's asking for, right? And of course, still trying to get bail for the third time, or, trying to get his bail appealed, right? The denial of his bail appealed, right? So terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of content. You realize that's a whole lot of, bumping uglies going on. Years and years and years of bumping uglies, and you're telling me they're going to be ready in just in less than a year? That's just a few months, y'all. Really, if you think about it. That's crazy. His team is that hardcore. They're all going to sit there burning through countless hours of spicy content filled with baby oil. Everything you probably can smell. You can probably smell the badussy through the video. You're just like, oh, you're just burning incense, burning matches, something, spraying Febreze as you're watching this nasty content. Think about it for a second, guys. They got to sit through all of that ish. Somebody has to. And you're talking terabytes. You really think that there's going to be enough time to get everything so that you have a solid argument, a solid case for your client? I mean, I guess if you're paying that kind of money, well.
Is that ambitious? April, May 2025?
Overly ambitious. And the reason for the ambition is pretty self-evident. He's incarcerated. This is a celebrity, multi-millionaire who is incarcerated, and they want to get this done. I think it's ambitious because the turnaround is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to go through all of this evidence to see, what exculpatory evidence is there. They don't want to look at what the government thinks is important. They want to look at everything so they can find out what's important for the defense here. What's interesting is, though, that the most important pieces of evidence, besides that which is electronic and can be turned over, we're going to have, Jenks material. And, for a defense lawyer, the most important evidence in the case are the FBI 302s and the grand jury testimony of witnesses. Who are the witnesses going to be? What have they said to the government? How many times have they been interviewed by the government? That evidence we won't see until perhaps no sooner than 60 days before the trial date, or maybe within 2 weeks of the trial date, depending upon how lenient or conservative the judge is.
And my understanding is, especially with federal courts, the transparency is a lot more limited than if it was a state prosecution. But I mean, we could read between the lines, and I think even the defense suggested it in their filings that victim number one with respect to that sex trafficking charge is Cassandra Ventura. So people have been saying she could be the star witness. We have an update for court. As I said, I'm going to provide everybody updates as this comes in. First of all, Sean Combs has been brought into the courtroom. Apparently, he came in through the side holding cell door.
Sean Combs
is wearing
in the
jail
courtroom.
pants. He is wearing a T-shirt. And he was seen smiling and hugging his lawyers. So as we talk about Sean Combs, the rap mogul, the business mogul, fall from grace, to see him in an outfit like this, to see him in this environment is very, very different.
Crazy.
And Ava, we have a question from YouTube as well. So anybody who has questions about the case, questions about what's happening today, please submit them on YouTube. This is from Lori Crabtree. Is there a statute of limitations on some of the video evidence found? Meaning, can they
Ooh,
not introduce
that's
some
a
of the
good question.
evidence because it's time barred?
Now, we know under the Mann Act that a lot of these allegations that go back in time.
And Mann Act is sex trafficking, right?
Right.
Okay.
A lot of these allegations that go back in time, you can still prosecute them. And so under that, a lot of the evidence that may be 10, 15 years old, we are able to still use that evidence in the court.
Brian, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is I think there could be a discussion today about the defense's allegation that the Department of Homeland Security, to be clear, Department of Homeland Security, not the United States prosecutors, not the prosecutors from the Southern District of New York, but the Department of Homeland Security leaked that 2016 video of Sean Combs allegedly beating Cassandra Ventura. I say allegedly, but looks pretty, and he admitted what it is anyway. But the point is, if that becomes a topic of conversation today, how do you think that's going to shake out? Because they're saying we want an evidentiary hearing to find out who leaked it. The prosecutors have said it didn't come from us. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a great idea. Anything you can do to try and circumvent what I think is a smoking gun in at least the case as it relates to, the character of this fella. I think it's a good idea for the defense. Try and get a little bit of a fishing expedition, going on in terms of who leaked it. More importantly, at some point in time, they're going to need to get a fair and impartial jury. And this might just be the first in a series of motions they file trying to keep the government from leaking evidence that's going to be important to this case. Anybody who saw that particular video walked away from it disgusted. And obviously, people are going to be brought into a courtroom pretty soon. Anything you can do to stop it, you try and stop it.
Yeah, sorry, Brian, your signal went out for one quick second, but no, I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying, what the motivation might be. Ava, I'm going to read you a portion of the letter. This is from their filing. This is from the Sean Combs defense attorneys. Mm-hmm. As detailed below, the CNN leak was but one of a long and documented history of leaks and false statements made with one purpose: to savage Mr. Combs' reputation prior to trial. While the government's misconduct in this case is particularly egregious, it is unfortunately part of a trend in this district. The government has learned that it can strategically leak information with impunity. This court should exercise its authority to prohibit these underhanded tactics, which severely undermine a criminal defendant's right to a fair trial. And they not only say this video was leaked, but also the number of comments that were allegedly attributed to DHS agents talking about who they're interviewing and what material they're seizing. They have a point?
I think they're doing what a good defense attorney is trying to do: get the smoking gun evidence out of there any way you can. Now, the prosecutors did a reply letter, and in their reply, they said, look, the video leak didn't come from us, didn't come from the Department of Homeland Security. It wasn't part of the evidence we had for the grand jury. So your argument, although you're more than able to make it, and you have every right to, as a good defense attorney would, there isn't a leg to stand on. And I think that raises an interesting question with the defense strategy here. If they're bringing up, tactics saying prosecutorial misconduct, they better make sure that it is correct, because if it's not, they could become less credible in front of the judge. And that could shape the way this trial plays out for the defense if you lose the trust of a judge.
Well, and by the way, as I said, new judge here would go over this issue. But talking about, because we're getting comments now from our YouTubers, and Brian, I want to go to you about this. This is from Keanu Kane on YouTube. Do you think they will allow bail this time? And is he considered a high risk? First, before I throw this to you,
I got some more
Brian,
stuff.
To be clear, we don't believe that the issue of bail is going to come up in front of Judge Subramanian right now, that this is now going to be decided by a different court, a higher court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. But having said that, I read their brief, Brian. I don't know if you had the opportunity to either, but what they basically suggest, and I'm going to summarize it, is we put together a very attractive bail package: $50 million bail, home confinement, take away access to his phone, take away access to the internet, visitor logs. He will be monitored by a third-party outside security team. We will put together any conditions possible in order to make sure that he is not a danger to society, as prosecutors claim. And they also spend a large portion of their brief saying he knew he was under investigation since January and had his attorneys reach out to prosecutors. He gave up his passport. He's been doing everything in his power to be cooperative. He came to New York to surrender himself. And this is not only a fair bail package, and he's been doing the right thing, but what they also suggest is the two judges who denied him bail previously, they were relying on unproven allegations from the prosecution. They're saying he was contacting witnesses, but there's not definitive proof of that. It was actually not as nefarious as they claim. There are people who are reaching out to him. It was regarding the civil lawsuits. So as this now takes its way to a second court, a higher court, what do you think?
Well, I thought the argument they made the first time they made it was an excellent one. I thought they overcame what is a statutory presumption in these type of cases. The problem they've got now, though, they're in a circuit court. And the circuit court is really going to be looking at whether or not there was an abuse of discretion. And there is a lot of discretion vested in the district court judges, the ones that ruled on this case, to make these kind of bail detention decisions that they make every day. And so while I think it's a really legitimate argument, and there's certainly circumstances that could be put in place that could protect everyone in this case and allow him to maintain his liberty, it's always a difficult task to overcome a district judge's finding on the issue of detention.
Now, again, I think I'm glad that they're having this conversation. Real talk. I am very, very happy about this. And just so you guys know, I'm seeing you guys on TikTok. If you want to see what I'm watching, please, by all means, go over to my YouTube channel. It's the same as my show here, same title as the show here. Go over, check it out over there. That's the reason why you're not able to hear anything right now. But it is really important that, well, one, we know that they may not talk about bail right now. They may not. It is not official at all right now if they're going to be talking about bail and if that's on the docket. That's still a possibility. It's still on the table, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, right? Now, there are a couple things I do want to share with you guys here too, because there are some updates from Inner City Press. They've been live tweeting inside the courtroom, which I really, really appreciate, okay? So I want to share a few things from this as well. It looks like they're looking at Cinco de Mayo, okay? They're looking at the 5th of May to have this, to get this thing going on, right? To get this trial going on. So let me just roll back a tiny bit, all right? And of course, they said 10 minutes ago, this is what Inner City Press said, that this particular judge, okay, Subramanian, Subramanian, hopefully I'm saying that right, hasn't come out and taken the bench yet. Everyone else is ready. And that was 10 minutes ago. But it seems like they kind of went in guns blazing and got things started. So let's see. I'm trying to go back a little bit here so that we can see a little bit. So the judge said, what about a speedy trial act clock? Combs' lawyer, okay, Ruffalo, however you say his name, Agnifilo, all right. He says, I do not agree with that speedy trial waiver is that the speedy trial waiver is effective. We did not consent before Judge Carter. The new judge says, because this is a new judge, okay, you've requested a trial in April or May 2025. I can give you either month, all right. Moving on, he says the judge says May 5th, the trial will start, or I'll give you April if you want. So Agnifilo said, we'll take May 5th. There's a lot of discovery. Judge says, how long will the government's case be? And then, of course, the AUSA, okay, Johnson said 3 weeks, but, and then, hold on. There's got to be more than just that. Okay, then we got more. Because it's coming. This stuff is coming out fast. This dude's working fast, though. Okay, so hold on. But Then they said, Johnson said again, our investigation is ongoing, so there could be a superseding incident or indictment. I'm sorry. Interesting. Another one. Another charge coming. Okay. There will be a defense case. 1 week, I estimate. This is what Diddy's attorney just said. So Diddy's lawyer was not fired. Just so you guys know, he did not get fired. He did not quit. Janine Garofalo, Mark Ruffalo, and Nifalo, Diddy's lawyer, is still there. And I guess he's still playing lead attorney right now. Okay. The judge returns back saying, and let's turn to discovery. The AUSA says we'll complete production by the end of the year. Judge says, let's turn to disputes. Diddy's lawyer says we are trying to keep them to a minimum. We have an active dialogue with the government. I don't have any disputes at the moment. The new judge says that's fine. Ms. Johnson, anything more on discovery? AUSA says on Monday, we have 1 terabyte. Okay, we gave 1 terabyte, a device they asked for. There are 96 devices seized in March. There were 96 devices seized in March from LA, Miami, and his person at a private airport in Florida. So 96 individual devices, y'all. 96 individual devices. Have mercy. And this is strewn all over the place, okay, from Miami to LA and on him. Okay? That's wild. Okay, we're extracting material over the next 30 days. Damn, this is going to be a lot. That's going to be a long. Whoever's the digital person, right? Who's ever holding it down, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Okay, they're burning the midnight oil for sure. Or they better have a whole bunch of people working nonstop because that's so much content. That is so much content. This guy really loved to be on camera. He really did. Okay. So the AUSA, okay, says current technology doesn't allow us to quickly extract. Interesting. The government's ability to decrypt is constantly evolving. Also, sometimes with older tablets, we don't have the forensic tools, so we are looking for solutions. Some devices were damaged. Whew. Man, that's a lot of devices, man. That's a lot of devices, cabron. Whole lot of devices. Yep. So, hold on. Okay. So we have a new one. All right. From the prosecution. Okay. From the airport, 9. Whoa. From the airport, 9 devices were seized. How many phones he got? How many phones does he need? From Miami, 36 devices were seized. 29 have been extracted and 17 will be produced in our next production. LA, 51 seized. 21 will be produced in our next production. Also his phone from arrest in September. Wow. Wow, New York. Wow. That's a lot of content. Or at least not a lot of content, but that's a lot of devices to dive through. Let's be real. That's a lot of devices, yo. He held on to everything. He held on to everything. Do you understand? Here's another one. New update. Okay, from the prosecution. Okay, the subpoena returns. Okay, the subpoena returns. We are putting them in a relativity database. Judge says, and Brady material. The prosecution says the defense sent us Brady request. At the next conference, I will ask about your progress. And then this is the prosecution said, our investigation continues. So they're not even done yet, y'all. They're nowhere near done. Do you understand that? They are nowhere near done, at least prosecution side. Okay. The government, they ain't done yet. They're still combing through countless devices, countless separate devices that they have not, okay, they have not been on. They have not been able to access. Some of them, I'm sure, are super old, right? Some of them are probably like Blackberries and stuff, like flip phones or whatever. Whatever he can access a video or take photos on, I'm sure all of them damn things are on those photos still, right? So that's pretty crazy, right? That is pretty nuts, to say the least. But let's see if there's anything more, any more updates. Hold on. Because that's a lot. That's a lot, yo. That's a lot of content, yo. That's a lot of content. So the investigation continues. And he still hasn't done any new updates as of late. Let's get back to this lawyer and see what they have to say. But I'm saying, like, BlackBerry, man, let me tell you, Richie Dupe, let me tell you, I loved my BlackBerry. Okay. But then iPhone had to come and muck it up. Okay. But I loved my BlackBerry. I don't know about you guys. If you had a BlackBerry, shout out to all y'all that had a BlackBerry. The only thing is that, I mean, the photos were just trash. You know what I mean? It was just not good for anything else other than just, typing and, all the other stuff. It was great. You know what I mean? I loved my BlackBerry. Freaking loved it. But then, that thing disappeared, right? It's it's gone, right? But let's continue on, guys. Let's hear what he's got to say now.
Yep. In other words.
Oh, so real quick. Sorry. I'm sorry. You guys are going to be like, oh, I hate you, Pascal. Well, hold on. Let me just say this really quick. Just so we know, they're looking at May 5th as the possible jump off. Okay. As the possible day to get things started. But my thing is if they still need, if they say 30 days, it's going to take them to go through another chunk of these devices. Is there going to be enough time? Because you also got to remember, anything that they find, they have to present. Okay, they have to present that stuff to defense as discovery. So that's still a whole lot of content and a whole lot of terabytes for the defense to actually comb through and be ready for Cinco de Mayo. Okay, and no, they're not going to be doing shots and eating guac. Okay, and wearing a sombrero, getting all festive. They're not. They'll be in there, not doing shots of tequila at all. Okay? Just saying. You will not hear in the background, not at all. There will be no Ricky Martin being played, not whatsoever. Is he Mexican? I think he is Mexican. Yes, he is. But let's move on. All right?
It wasn't so outside the realm of understanding why the judge did this, right? It's not like it made absolutely no sense. You take the government's allegations, you take the facts of this case, you take the weight of the evidence, you could say that the judge was justified, and that's really what you're looking at here. Now, I want to give everybody an update. As I mentioned, we're going to provide you updates throughout this hearing as it progresses, and we plan to stay here pretty much until this hearing's over, and even afterwards. So the hearing has officially started. Combs' new defense attorney, Anthony Rico, wanted to make it clear to the court that Mr. Combs' mother and his children traveled here from Florida and are seated behind me. Now, that's interesting because we talked earlier in the week, and by the way, to let everybody know, what you're seeing is the best any of us can do. There are no cameras allowed in that courtroom. This is not like a standard law and crime trial. I wish it was. I wish there were cameras in there, but federal courts, New York courts, they don't allow cameras in the courtroom. It's really a big disappointment. So we are going to do our best to relay to you in real time what's happening. And of course, as I mentioned, Elizabeth Milner's in there and she'll come out later. So that's interesting that his family's there. Obviously, his family's there, but his mom, earlier this week, and we did a sidebar episode on this, released a statement. And she basically told the world, don't judge him, allow him to present his defense. But also she said, he lied. He lied. He slept when he said he had, didn't do anything. And then he apologizes for the Cassandra Ventura video. He lied. I thought it was very interesting his mom released that statement through her lawyer, of course.
And I think lying versus committing sex trafficking and RICO type charges are two very different things. The law says you're innocent until proven guilty, and his mom being there could be a show of her belief that my son is innocent of these indictment charges. until he's proven.
Yeah.
And I'm going to support my son.
Yeah, I understand that. And look, she came out with that statement after the charges, after the civil lawsuits. And look, unfortunately, she's, I think, 84 years old. She's probably wants to get this statement in, and it's her son. So I understandable that she said that. But at the same time, they're very serious accusations, and a number of people have levied very, very serious claims against them. Okay, so I have a question for both of you. I will start with you, Brian. This is from Nicholas Winter on YouTube. What are your views on federal court not allowing transparency via press coverage inside the courtroom? Would the video of the hearing be made public when the case is closed?
I couldn't agree more with the view that there ought to be access. The citizens have a right to see. They have a right to know. They want to see justice being made. And they don't have that opportunity in federal courts. We don't even have that opportunity in the state courts of Pennsylvania. And I know what the rules allow for. I know why those rules exist. But I think we're now at an age, a point in time in our nation's history, where our citizens require it. They want to be able to see it so they can believe it. And they want to have trust in the system. And I think that would give them at least some confidence that what they hear, what they read is what their eyes are telling them. So why not?
Yeah. And not everybody's able to read an article about what happened, to have that visual medium, to have a clip unedited and put in context, of course, would really help provide that transparency. And no, there's not going to be a copy of the video after the case. There will be transcripts. We can see transcripts. That's probably the best we'll get. Courtroom sketches, as we're seeing. Ava, I'll give you the opportunity to respond to that as well. But if you want, I have another question for you.
Sure,
actually,
go
you
ahead.
answered that. This Nicholas Winter asked for your opinion too. What's your opinion on that?
I don't think either of you are going to like my opinion. I think that it shouldn't be open to the public because the most important thing is the privacy of the victims, as well as to ensure that the charge, no matter how egregious the charges are, you have a right to a fair trial. And I think opening up to the public, having cameras in there could really impede on that right.
Brian, I want to give you an update about what's happening in court. Literally what we just talked about, the speedy trial. So the judge said the defense requested a trial in April or May of 2025. The judge says they can give them either month, and the judge offered May 5th. The defense said they will take May 5th.
May 5th.
And the government says its case will take 3 weeks. Do you imagine this really happening?
3 weeks? So the government saying this trial will take 3 weeks to do. Open and shut case. This is what they believe. 3 weeks. That is crazy. So they're still saying a speedy trial. They're still trying to get this thing going on. They have agreed, or at least defense is saying, hey, we could do May 5th. Because you got to remember, the sooner they get this thing started, if Diddy is exonerated and found not guilty, that's the quicker he gets out. And that's all he wants. He wants to get the hell out. And of course, he doesn't want things festering. The faster he gets out there, the faster he's exonerated and found not guilty, the faster he's free, the shorter amount of time does it take for all the other victims. Think about this too. All the other victims to muster up enough courage to find a lawyer, file the lawsuits, and get after him. Think about that. Okay. So he's like, hey, let me get in front of this as quickly as I possibly can, because I can't stand being in this jail. Okay. I miss my Tucci. Okay. If you know what I mean, that pink powder stuff. I miss that. I miss my 1,000-count plush bed sheets. Okay. And I miss my Louis Vuittons. Oh, and let's not forget, I miss my baby oil. So as soon as he can get out there and do this, the sooner he can get back home to freedom. Okay? So he is trying his damnedest to try to get this going. Okay? And yeah, by the way, quick left turn, really, really quick before we continue on. Y'all need to go and check out. Blink Twice. Yeah. Watch Blink Twice. Especially now because of everything. Okay? Actually, a really good movie. I thought it was surprisingly good. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. Oh, no. This is not going to be good. And actually, it was really actually pretty good. And ending was shocking. I will say that too. But I mean, it definitely still lingering in my brain, to be honest. But definitely go check out Blink Twice. Check it out. You'll thank me later. It's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Okay. Okay. So Ricky Martin is from Puerto Rico. Okay, he's from Puerto Rico. That's what's up. Now we know. Thank you. Okay. But yeah, they want to speed this up so that he can get out as soon and as quickly as possible. That's what he gives a damn about. Okay. He wants to speak his side. He wants to fight for his freedom, fight for his innocence, as he claims. And I think the faster he gets out there, the faster people will stop. Okay. The faster people will be like, oh, snap. I can't file anymore. He's out. Or I can't file anymore because he's been exonerated. He's been found not guilty. So no one's going to believe me now. Think about that too. Uh-oh. Think about that too. Sooner they get out there, the sooner they go, oh, damn, I can't file anymore. And that person may be telling the truth. They may be a victim. But I'm telling you right now, they still say that this is not going to be the conversation about bail may not be on the table. We don't know as of yet. Okay. In fact, we're going to be checking on Inner City Press again because they've been coming out with the info. All right. With the updates. Okay. But just so you know, they say that this is not a conversation about bail. This is a conversation about discovery, the data, the terabytes, the fact that they're alleging that someone leaked that video of Cassie in the hotel. And then, of course, I don't know, maybe they will talk about the bail, but I don't think that's on the table today. Okay. So let's get back into this. Let's take a look at this piece here really quick. Just some updates from, shout out to Inner City Press for, giving us the info. Real talk. We would not have this, and he is a fly on the wall, literally in there right now as we speak. So let's get back to where we were. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Brady material. Our investigation continues. So he says, or they say, the prosecution says, we have a subpoena out to Combs Global. Uh-oh. We're reviewing all of the material for privilege. Our filter team removes some material before the case team can see it. The judge says, for motions, I'll give the defense until February 17th or before we are here. Or before we are here. I guess there was a little typo. I mean, he's typing this damn stuff fast. Surprising, by the way. This is the fastest typer in the history of typing. Okay? But let's have next discovery conference on December 18th. Okay? Just a week before the Lord's Day. No, I'm just kidding. Just a week before Christmas. Okay? At 2 p.m. Let's turn to the defendant's motion. So, Diddy's attorney, the defense, we are asking for a gag order. The concern is that the agents have been leaking grand jury information and making other prejudicial statements. This stuff is important here. So Combs' lawyer says, we told the prosecutors your agents are leaking information to the press. It started again around the time of the arrest. The interim relief we are requesting is the gag order. Okay. And if you don't know what a gag order is, okay, if you don't know what a gag order is, they are trying to get this whole thing shut off. They're trying to squeeze off the valve of information out to the rest of the world. So then, in other words, you won't hear no TMZ, no gossip columnists, no CNN, no MSNBC, no Fox News, nobody talking about it, not a damn thing. Okay? So they said, we want them to shut up. We want everyone to shut everything off, cut everything off from the rest of the world. We don't need the stuff being out here. Other witnesses, so on and so forth, stopping them from speaking and all that. You got to remember, this is the same thing that happened with Brian Koberger and the Idaho 4, right? There's a lot of people, I'm sure, that would want to speak out, but haven't been able to speak out because of the gag order that was implemented during that trial as well, or that case, because they haven't gone into trial yet. Now, this is the same thing that they're trying to do. They're trying to get people to shut up, and they're trying to get evidence to stay in one spot. They're trying to block this information. Okay? Now, that is pretty crazy in my personal opinion. So let's continue on. So they're requesting a gag order. The judge says it's like the local rule. Prosecution says, we ask you that you defer. We ask that you defer. They're trying, this is continuing by the prosecution. They're trying to exclude a damning, yep, I'm just making sure the timeline's right. They're trying to exclude a damning piece of evidence. The press statements, they are not from the prosecution team. That is significant. We request you defer any ruling until you get our papers. We will, of course, not speak to the press. Interesting. Then the judge says the order would prohibit any further leaking of information to the media. It could be furnished to the Department of Homeland Security agents. So the prosecution says we have no problem affirming, I guess, we have no problem affirming our obligation to speak to the press. We object to the order about future leaks. If so, should be reciprocal. So if we got to do it, y'all got the other side got to do it too. Okay, we that's fine if you want to do it. If you want to implement this gag order, fine, but they got to do it too. They can't be out here leaking information either. Everybody got to shut the hell up. So he says, okay, draft one, I'll hear any objection. So the prosecution says, we have concerns about Diddy's lead attorney's statement. He basically accused the government of engaging in a racist prosecution. It violates Rule 23.1D7. I don't know what that is, but holy poop on a stick. So then the prosecution says, I'll read a quote. Mr. Janine Garofalo said, they make this case as they take down a successful black man. The statements have been picked up. You should affirm his obligations under 23.1. So then his lawyer said, this should have been in the letter. Interesting. Oh my Lord. This is okay. The fact that they're throwing out the race card, the prosecution is throwing the race card. Wow. Like, if I'm reading that correct, just making sure I'm reading that correct. Yep, that's the prosecution. That's the government saying, hey, you throwing out a race card. We ain't cool with it, bruh. We ain't cool with it, bruh. Nah, you can miss me with that nonsense. Jasmine said, oh, stop. Yeah. Ain't that crazy? Because but here's the thing though. It's showing proof positive that he's been on these interviews. He's been all up in these videos. He's been out here doing interviews and all that stuff as well. He has been. Janine Garofalo, Mark Ruffalo, Agnifilo, Diddy's lead attorney, has been out here in these interviews quite a bit. Why do we know about Costco? You know, when you go and pick up milk and a big box of diapers, I mean, while you're at it, might as well get some baby oil. I mean, at Costco, I mean, while you're just on the way out of near the checkout aisle, I mean, you just see a whole mound of baby oil. I mean, who wouldn't want to go and buy some baby oil? That's literally what he said. So much that along the lines of other things too, he's a successful black man, right? Along that, So much that Costco had to come up and go, Breaker 19, we want to say we have nothing to do with these baby oils. In fact, we don't have baby oil at all at any of our stores. Over. That's literally what they did. That came from that lawyer. This very lawyer going, they're just trying to take down a successful black man. So he's not wrong. The prosecution ain't wrong. They're not. Have mercy. His TMZ interviews are now starting to bite him in the ass. What? I mean, you know, when you're at Costco, sometimes you just need to go and buy a whole lot of bottles of baby oil. Oh my God, you can't write this stuff. Okay. There's more. Let's okay. Give me a second. Give me a second. We got a video. Let me let them play a little bit more here. Okay. Let's rock and roll. Okay.
In May of 2025, less than a year after he was arrested and indicted.
It's unbelievable. It would really be the absolute unusual situation with the representations made about the amount of discovery in this case. But I get it. And, you know, they have an obligation to not only protect, you know, Mr. Combs, but to see to his wishes. And what he wants is his liberty. Now, if there's a determination, I can assure you, by the circuit court that he's going to be released, they may want to punt this case until maybe 2 years from now.
Right.
But while he's in custody, I can assure you they're going to be pushing for that May trial date. And guess what? This judge is basically saying, you want it? I'll give it to you. But don't come crying to me, 4 months from now if it's not working for your schedule. So interesting.
Yeah, look, I'm of the opinion, and I will back this up any day. I think he really thought he was going to make bail, be on house arrest for 1 year, 2 years, push it out as long as he wants. But now the fact, and I'll give you another update here, Ava. So the defense says it's going to take 1 week to defend. And that seems to me, right, he's going to be locked up, try to get him tried as soon as possible, put this behind him. They feel confident. They feel confident in their defense against these charges right now. And we've kind of heard a flavor of it, right? That all of these freak-offs were consensual. But doesn't that signal to you that the defense, at least at this point, feels confident in proving his innocence?
Yeah, but the defense...
Okay, so here's the thing, okay? I do have somebody I want to share, have come onto the show. I can't talk suddenly now. Sorry. And because I do have a lot of questions, of course. And of course, I want to get to this live here and see where we are, because it looks like something's happening outside, or maybe happening very, very shortly. So I want to keep an eye on that as well. But we do have a good friend of ours back on the show. Okay. She's been here a million times before. All right. But please welcome to the show, lawyer as well and content creator, Andrea Burkhart. Whoops, hold on. Andrea Burkhart to the show. What's up?
What's up? How you doing?
Man, I am chilling. First off, I want to thank you so much for hopping on last minute and all that, being a part of this. This is a big day. A lot of stuff is going on, to be completely real. And I know that you can't be on forever, but I did want to ask you a couple things in regards to what we're about to be looking at here. It's crazy, right? So I wanted to hear your thoughts on what we're seeing right now. Okay, one, I thought today was supposed to be a day about the bail. And then now we got all this, now we got a status hearing for all this other stuff. And I'm trying to understand, why did that happen suddenly out of nowhere? Why did the bail hearing get kind of pushed out, right? And then this stuff added in? You know?
So my understanding is that this hearing is because of the reassignment of the judge. The fact that there's now a new judge that's taking over the case. Because of that, they're going to have this opportunity to revisit bail, basically have another bite at the apple to try to ask for it. But they're going to have to get that in front of him and get it properly set and noted and all of that type of thing for that to be that to happen. So in the meantime, this was basically we have a new judge now. We've got to kind of set some new expectations as far as what the process is going to look like. We had a very similar situation with Koberger just, a couple weeks back because likewise got reassigned to a new judge when the venue changed. So that is fairly common. Everybody just kind of gets together and make sure that they're all on the same page about what's going to happen going forward.
Interesting. Because, I keep wondering, because that's the thing. I mean, obviously, all of us had the misunderstanding, I believe, that this was going to be a bail hearing, that we all thought that he was going to be like, okay, he's going to be either he's going to be set free or, they're going to put the final nail in the coffin and say, no, you're not getting out anytime soon and just figure out, get comfortable in jail. Right. But now we're hearing, of course, this new stuff. And given the fact that we have this new judge, which we did talk about before when we talked about this new judge and him being brought in. Is this normal? Is this a normal procedure that they're doing here? That wouldn't they just make sure that this judge that just jumped in, wouldn't they make sure he's properly vetted? And would there really need to be some sort of status hearing right now?
Well, I do think it is fairly normal. Maybe it's a little bit more unusual at this stage in the case, just because not so much has happened. It's not like they have a deep history with the prior judges on the case at this point in time. But it is somewhat routine, just because they've gotten used to one person's expectations and process. That's now going to shift, and so that can affect things like speedy trial deadlines and other types of deadlines. So again, it's to me doesn't strike me as particularly unusual that they would be having a sort of non-hearing hearing like that at this point in time.
Right. Okay. So then what should we expect here? I mean, obviously, we're now understanding that they're looking at a speedy trial. They're looking at May 5th right now. And then, of course, they are talking about, well, right now, I think they're trying to get a gag order right now. And so what should we expect? I mean, do you think the judge is going to, because I don't know yet if he's granted the gag order or not. But actually, before we go into that, what does a gag order mean exactly? And especially for this particular case?
So in this particular case, what it's going to do is prevent the case participants from being able to reveal information about the case. Basically, anything that's not already public, things that are in discovery, progress of the investigation, and so forth. These, of course, run up against First Amendment limitations. And so the way that the court typically limits the order to keep it within First Amendment limits is to apply it to the lawyers. Because lawyers, being professionals, officers of the court, having their own responsibilities and stuff like that, their speech can be managed a little bit more easily than, for example, if you tried to issue an order saying, press, you can't say certain things, it would never be held up in a million years. These are prior restraints on speech that are presumptively unconstitutional. So that's what I would expect the format of the order to look like. It would restrict the lawyers in the case and the people who work for them, their agents. So in the case of the prosecutor, that can mean the investigators on the case and so forth. It prevents them from making new statements, sharing evidence, information, and so forth beyond what's already known.
Interesting. Okay. Now, here's the thing. There is something that's been just driving me crazy, and I just want to get this answered. I was hoping to get this answered earlier this morning, but I didn't get a chance to get it answered. So I'm glad that you're here, and I do want to know about this piece of information. This right here. Okay. They are implying that his team is implying that the footage from the hotel was leaked by DHS, by the Department of Homeland Security. Now, I'm wondering, what does that mean specifically for this case? Does it mean they are, are they getting in? Does this mean that everything's off the table? Does this mean that they can't use that evidence in this trial? What exactly does that mean?
So from a legal standpoint, it's not clear to me that it means anything at all. The police are not legally prohibited typically from sharing evidence, from sharing information. They do it as a matter of policy because, they want to keep their investigation clean and not cause problems. But it's also very common to see in cases, for example, the Richard Allen case down there in Delphi that's about to get underway. It's very common for police to release a certain amount of information in order to try to get assistance from the public to help them with their investigation, to provide them tips, give them leads to pursue and things like that. So they have a lot of discretion in deciding what do we want to make public versus what we don't. And if the information or evidence is not otherwise protected by law, like it's not confidential medical information or sealed court records or something like that would independently need to be kept secret, then there's no law that says that they can't release it. So I don't see any basis for this to be like the video is going to be excluded or the charges are going to get thrown out or anything like that. To me, it just looks like a basis for the defense to be trying to argue, oh, this is a biased investigation. They were trying to, litigate it in the press or trying to build up public antipathy against Diddy in the lead up to the arrest and the charges and so forth because they want to taint the jury pool. It'll go to that type of argument, which ultimately is up to a jury to decide if that one is true and two, if it matters or not.
Interesting. Because I keep wondering if there's going to be any, like I said, if there's anything big that's going to happen aside from them deciding a date, if aside from them saying, oh, in about, I don't even know how many months that is from now, but X amount of months from now, we're going to be looking in at May, Cinco de Mayo, it's going down, so on and so forth. Because in my mind, I'm going, okay, would a gag order really change anything? I mean, people are still going to be talking about this. People are still going to be obsessing about it. People are still going to be leaking information, I feel, no matter what. So I keep thinking, would a gag order really be helpful in a situation like this?
Well, I mean, of course, you can ask me if gag orders are going to be helpful in any situation, and I will have a lot of ambivalence for you about that. The part of the problem is that it creates an incentive for the people who are reporting on the case to get scoops. And so to get scoops, you might have to rely on less and less reliable information or, maybe cut corners or engage in acts that aren't necessarily appropriate to try to get that information. So a lot of the same kind of stuff that we've seen in the Koberger case, where there's a vacuum, there's an information vacuum because a gag order is there. But there's so much public interest and hunger for information about the case that there's just a lot of incentives to, report poorly sourced information, anonymous information, to exploit victims' families and so forth, to try to just have something to be able to put out there. So all of those same incentives are going to be at play in this particular case. But it's also, I think, dialed up quite a bit by the fact that he is such a high profile figure. He's got so many high profile connections, and they're, given the activities, the allegations that are, surrounding this criminal charge and the implication that other people are involved, other people may face criminal charges, there might be incentives there too for people to make it clear on record, this is what I know, this is where I stand, to try to distance yourself from any type of criminal activity. But so basically there's a wealth of information out there from potential Diddy associates or people that attended these parties or whatnot that aren't, very likely to be subject to this gag order. So all it's going to really do is keep a lock on the official discovery, the official part of the investigation, but it's not going to be able to do anything to shut up people just having knowledge and potentially wanting to share that.
Interesting. Man, yeah, you're right. It won't stop other people from speaking out. As far as, of course, they obviously prosecution and the defense should pretty much run a very tight ship on both sides and not let any of this stuff actually leak out. I mean, it would be absolutely ridiculous for them to just be going crazy and just leaking stuff out here like crazy. But I guess in a way, I look at this and I go, as far as like going back to the fact that they're trying to say the feds are leaked this video, I'm wondering what is that motive? Why would they do something like that? Why would they put that information out here if they're not hoping that it would change the course of this trial?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, Diddy's fighting for his life right now, so expecting him to fight fair might be a little too.
But here's the thing, though. But here's the thing, though. Is that fair? Like, is this unfair reporting? Like unfair accusation? If he really does believe that it was leaked by the feds,
I don't know that this is particularly an unfair accusation or an unfair leak or anything like that. I think what they are trying to do is they're just simply trying to defuse that video as much as they can because, it was pretty compelling. Yeah, I saw that video, and it definitely gave me some thoughts about, what I think about the claims that Diddy's made, his credibility, his, who's likely telling the truth now in this whole scenario. And the defense is going to know that this video is extraordinarily powerful. So, they don't necessarily have a lot of tools to be able to counteract that. They can't take it out of the public eye. They can't unring the bell and change the effect that seeing that video has had on so many perspectives around the world. So the best thing I think they can do is just to try to flip it, to try to turn it to be something to their advantage, where it's like, don't look at the video, look at the motivations of the people that caused you to see the video. And if we can undermine those and, make them look like the bad people, then potentially, we can get people to look past the rather devastating contents of that video itself.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, because you're right. It's a very damning video. It's smoking gun. It's a smoking gun video. It's, to me, is well, obviously in the court of public opinion, it's one thing. The judicial system, innocent until proven guilty. But this shows some level of guilt. Doesn't show him dousing people with laced baby oil out here. No, it doesn't. But it definitely shows that he has a violent streak, and he definitely has put his hands on one person. And there is potential of him lying through his teeth on countless other occasions on many other victims as well, right? So that is very interesting. But there is something I do want to share because it just happened. Don't know what this is about, but there's some activity going on outside of the courthouse right now. So let's take a listen.
The United States Constitution mandates that nobody should be subjected to the penalties of a crime without a conviction. Therefore, it is mandatory that Mr. Coons be released pending a conviction. Also, to try to say that he may have tampered with witnesses, etc., there's no evidence that he did this subsequent to being charged. To try to say that he presents a flight risk and everything like that, there's no evidence that he ever sought to evade prosecution. It's called prevention. You can't do that. You can't say punish a person for something they might do. They can only punish a person for something they have done. So the law mandates that he be released pending his trial.
Who is this guy?
And that any deprivation constitutes a fundamental deprivation or violation of.
doesn't matter who he is. He's obviously not somebody important. I'm assuming. Oh my! Who's that guy? Nobody. Run the bumper. Let's go. We gotta do the show. We're doing it live. Okay, that was a train wreck. Who is that guy? But anyway, that's interesting. I mean, clearly that's somebody obviously who's, on Diddy's side. Clearly that's not a lawyer. I mean, it doesn't seem like he may be a lawyer, but he may not be a lawyer for Diddy. That's what I'm trying to say here, guys. Anything's possible. Sorry for the laugh, but he just cut him off.
It was entertaining.
That was interesting. That was very entertaining. Thank you, Long Crime. Thank you. They said he's not important. Let's get straight. Let's cut through the muck and muck. Okay, so he's clearly saying stuff that we will be hearing from other people for sure. I'm sure his legal team will come out, make a statement, basically say the same thing. Like, if you don't have proof of anything, why is he still being locked up? What are your thoughts on that? I mean, especially with what he's saying, because I know for a fact any person that's on the free Diddy train is going to literally say the same thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, so a couple things. So first off, notice the very careful qualification of his language. There's no evidence that he ever intimidated any witnesses subsequent to the filing of these charges, right? All the proof that he did it beforehand, don't pay any attention to that, right? He hasn't done it since he's been in jail for like this last week that anybody can prove, right? That's not a compelling argument because, of course, anything that he did prior to being arrested is going to be evidence that there is a risk that he would potentially do it again. And so, obviously, factually, there's issues with his position, but then just from a legal standpoint,
he's a paralegal, by the way. Sorry. They say that he's a paralegal. Okay.
Yeah. Well, from a legal standpoint, he's pretty far off. Like, there's some core truth there. Yes, of course, we don't punish people for crimes before they've been convicted of them, but at the same time, it's certainly understood that the integrity of the legal process has to be protected, and that's part of the justification for pretrial incarceration in the first place, is because there are risks. You have anybody, not just Diddy, but any person has an incentive to try to interfere with the witnesses or to try to escape, abscond, not be subject to the court process. They just have different degrees of risk that they, would show that they would be likely to do something like that, or that they would have the means to do that. Diddy is in a unique situation because he very much has the means to be able to do things like that. And he has the history, at least, based on the investigations. It's probably going to be part of the evidence that comes out at trial as well, about similar intimidation types of activities that form the structure of what he was doing that led to these criminal charges. So they're going to be able to use all that to support imposition of bail. It's obviously been very persuasive to judges so far. So not a strong likelihood in my mind that is going to be changed.
Right now, we're seeing that the kids, the family, the Combs family, and their entourage is now exiting the courthouse. So that's actually happening right now as we speak. And of course, we're still waiting to see if there's going to be a statement made by his legal team, or shoot, maybe the prosecution will speak. I doubt it, but I feel like they said what they said during that press conference a few weeks back. But yeah, I mean, I think it's very interesting, the fact that there are going to be people out here that are going to move the goalpost, or it may seem or look like they're grasping at straws as best as they can to maintain, in their minds at least, the innocence of Diddy. When, again, there's a lot of stuff literally stacked up against him right now. And in my mind, I'm like, how the hell is he going to be able to change everyone's minds, even if he was found not guilty? I just feel like what's done is done. And that evidence sure doesn't show RICO. It doesn't show, trafficking of any kind or anything of that sort. But it does show that there is really a violent streak in this man, right? So I'm wondering how, if anything, would he be able to walk out free as a bird? Huh.
Well, this goes to that that issue that you can't come back from an accusation like this. I personally I don't have strong suspicions of a wrongful accusation here. There's just too much that's already been out there, too much that's been corroborated, et cetera, to really lead me to think that. But hypothetically, if that were the case, yeah, I mean, you've asked the $1 million question. How do you ever come back from something like that? You really can't. An accusation like this is going to be life-changing, period, regardless of the outcome. Because even if he had a perfectly fair trial and all the evidence was presented and the jury ultimately concluded, you know what, I think all of this was consensual. We're not going to convict him. He's acquitted. There's always going to be people that disagree with that conclusion, that have a different read on the evidence, that didn't follow the case and just remember this stuff that we're hearing in this type of time frame, forming their opinions based on that. So there is no recovery. And that's part of what is going to explain what we see from Diddy's team as the case goes forward, particularly in whatever window they may have until if a protective, a gag order gets entered to kind of shut them down. Because they have very limited ability and opportunity to try to rehabilitate him, but before that whole process gets underway. So I fully expect, they're going to be doing a full court press right now as much as they can, as hard as they can, to try to shift the public opinion before they get shut down from being able to do that. And now we're just stuck with the court process.
But I guess my question is, the damage is already done in a way. I mean, yes, there's going to be some people out here saying, like I said, watch, there's going to be free Diddy t-shirts out here very, very soon, and people wearing them with pride. Watch them all with their chest out like this. Like, say something, right? We already know it's going to happen. We already know that's going to happen. There was already free R. Kelly t-shirts back in the day, right? But I keep wondering, the court of public opinion has already heard enough. We've already heard enough to come up with our own decisions and our own thoughts, our own verdict in a way, our own individual verdict. So I keep wondering, like, how are they going to be able to churn this around when everything's done? Like the evidence has been out here, or not all of it. Let's be real. There's terabytes of evidence, allegedly, potentially terabytes of evidence. Let's not forget the freak off parties, the multiple hidden cameras, the videos that are being shopped around right now, allegedly, that are depicting big time celebrities in these particular salacious acts as well. So we haven't even seen those things yet, but those things do exist. So in my mind, I go, how would he be able to, turn this around successfully, so that if he is exonerated, which I doubt will ever happen, he'll be able to walk out with his head held high and not be bombarded with tomatoes. I just feel like it's coming.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that I would be shocked, frankly, if his defense strategy is really anything other than going after the accusers, arguing that these were consensual acts, that the accusations are, shakedowns, essentially, that these are people trying to get payoffs, et cetera. That's really going to be, if there is in fact a lot of digital evidence that is documenting what took place, very unlikely, he's going to be able to keep all that out, to keep it out of trial, to get it excluded. And as soon as that comes out, what can he do with it? His only option is really to try to convince you you're not seeing what you think you're seeing. So to try to spin that into something else, and to me, that's just the obvious course that I would expect him to take here. To say, oh yeah, everybody knew the score, and he's going to try to turn some of these some of these accusations against him. He's going to try to flip the script and make them benefit him. The fact that this was an open secret, everybody knew, all these celebrities were involved and stuff like, would they do that if they thought, if anybody had any reason to think this was coercive or anything other than completely consensual and so forth? He's going to try to spin it. So that's how I expect his strategy to unfold going forward. And we'll see how that plays out.
So real quick, before we go into more, I do want to share this really quick. Okay. No, don't need that. So this is what they're saying right now. First off, the title says, he's going to remain in jail, which is inobvious for this case. Okay. But they have set a trial. The trial has been indeed set for May 5th. Okay. Of 2025. That is definitely happening unless they push it back by some weird or strange reason. Okay. As far as the gag order goes, I haven't heard anything about it being, being denied or allowed. I haven't heard anything of that so far. But they say next conference will take place in December. And then either party will have until February to submit any motions. Okay. Now, of course, we now know that. Okay, so May 5th is the day. Cinco de Mayo is when everything is about to go down. It is D-Day for Diddy. Fitting. But sorry, I'm 12. But at the same time, I am kind of curious. Okay, this guy came out. He's like, that's not enough, so on and so forth. Do you think this man really is a flight risk or not, in your personal opinion?
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, why wouldn't anybody think he's not a flight risk? But what I find interesting is the defense was trying to do everything they can to try to make it sound like he's not a flight risk. He's doing everything he can to stay here. Blah blah blah. The only thing that as you can see, the prosecution was only concerned about him tampering or harassing witnesses and all that stuff. No, they were concerned about it all. He can hop on any plane and fly out to Bali anytime soon. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, like you said, there's absolutely no question that he has opportunities available to him that the average person doesn't have, as far as being able to abscond, and particularly to abscond to places where he can't be easily extracted and brought back to face justice. Obviously, like Roman Polanski being kind of the most high profile instance of that happening. These things are available to celebrities that aren't available to normal everyday people like us. We also don't know, though, what else the prosecutors may have in this regard. They seized all of his devices, and so all it really takes is one text with a friend along the lines of, oh, if they ever, come after me, I'll be in Bali, or just whatever, it doesn't take much to be able to establish that. So very much a possibility that they have his own communications or actions, electronic activity, things like that could undermine his claims. I would never do anything like that.
Yeah. I think that he's a flight risk. I think that he would go and harass any person that has any knowledge or any information in regards to him doing any bad here in this situation. I think that he needs to be denied bail, period. Now, it sounds like they did not bring that up. That was not brought bail. The conversation of bail was not brought to the table, right? Brought into the discussion for this hearing. So it sounds like there's going to be a separate hearing specifically for his bail appeal. Am I correct here?
I expect so, and I understand that. It's very likely that this is a situation where they may take evidence, they may have witnesses to talk about, this is what we uncovered during the investigation. Diddy may be putting witnesses on about, what a good guy he is that will totally promise, to show up when and where he's supposed to, and so forth. But to really be able then to make a factual record for the justifications on both sides, because they are going to want the potential to be able to appeal it. So they want to make the best record they possibly can. The prosecution for why he should, stay where he is. The defense for why he's not a flight risk or a risk to witnesses or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm wondering about what could possibly happen now, right? I mean, what could help him walk out those jail doors free? What would be the thing that could get him completely exonerated? I mean, even with the smoking gun footage, of Cassie getting attacked by Diddy, is there a way that he could literally walk out of this situation? And what would that be?
I mean, not in the short term. I don't see one. I really don't. The problem here is that so much of the case is going to be built on testimony, on witness testimony, and so, are all of those people going to disappear? Not if Diddy's in jail. But it's just, you can't make that go away. Even if there were situations like, okay, all the electronic data, maybe there's a problem in the warrant. Maybe he's able to move to suppress all of that. And it doesn't end up being available to use it at trial. Okay, that would be a major step forward for Diddy's case. But number one, that's not happening today, this week, this month. That's happening quite a ways down the road. And number two, even if they did lose all of that, it doesn't preclude them from still being able to go forward on the basis of the testimony they already have and the evidence that they were able to get independently. So this is not a case where I see a pathway really, to walk on pretrial motions. It seems pretty clear to me this one is likely going to have to go all the way.
Man, okay. I mean, so that could be a thing of him just being bye-bye, At the end of the day, it sounds like he's going to be gone for a long time. Whether it is he's only hit with just what he did in the video, or maybe because he had some obliterated some burners, some AKs, you know what I mean, that had the serial numbers obliterated, so on and so forth. I could see that sticking to him. Like, there's no way he can deny those were in his possession or those were his. They were in his home. They were found in his home. And there were a couple of them, right? So there are some smaller hits, for lack of a better term, smaller hits. There are smaller hits he can actually get that would require him to be in jail for a little bit or in prison for a little bit, but not a whole lifetime, right? Not a life in prison. So there is that possibility, right? That he could see 5 to 10 to maybe 15 years just on the scraping on the surface of what the prosecution has found. But now we're understanding that they're still looking into things, that the prosecution, the feds aren't done looking into things, and they could literally be charging him with more charges. They're just not done yet. So in my mind, I'm like, they got to start moving fast, right? Because shoot, May 5th is, I mean, as much as we sit here and go like, wow, May 5th is a little while from now, it really isn't. It's really, it's going to be a quick turnaround.
Yeah, in law time, May 5th is extremely fast, very accelerated. I will tell you now, I'll be shocked if the trial happens in that time frame. I don't see a viable way for the defense to be prepared, just given the number of witnesses, the time frame over which this, is supposed to have happened, the volume of evidence, the digital discovery, and so forth. They're not going to be able to review all that and then do whatever independent work they need to do based off of it within that time frame. I don't think it's feasible. I'd be shocked if it goes to trial on May 5th.
See, that's what I was saying too. I even used Brian Koberger for an example because his team, and I hear that she may not be representing him anymore. Ann Taylor.
She is. They entered an order.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I heard a rumor that she wasn't representing him anymore. But anyway, she was sitting there saying, like, I got terabytes and thousands of pages of stuff that I have to get through. I don't have time. Like, that's not enough time to be able to go through all of this stuff. And the defense is basically saying, yeah, Let's do May 5th. We got time. We can do it. Terabytes of content. Again, this is 30 plus years of accusations and footage that hasn't even been fully extracted yet from the countless devices that they obtained from not only his person, but from his home in Miami, his home in LA, and all that. So, you know, when I look at that, I'm like, yo, you're not going to have enough time unless you got people burning the midnight oil. You got everybody doing everything for you. There's no way you can get everything prepared in this short amount of time.
Yeah, and that's just based on what the feds already have too, because like you said, the investigation doesn't stop when they file the charges. And Koberger, that's really when it started. In this case, I think they have a little bit more of a foot in the door, you know, at this particular point in time. But there's still going to be a lot of follow-up based on whatever they found on his devices is a big one. There's going to be follow-up interviews from that, follow-up subpoenas from that. They'll be looking into, you know, bank records, history, stuff like that. You know, basically everything they can tie down to try to corroborate each and every piece of their case here, they're going to be digging through. So that's going to be ongoing. The defense challenge isn't just, can I keep up with what they've already done? It's the fact that they're going to keep working and potentially keep giving you more that you also have to manage to keep up with. So it's just, yeah, this is a microsecond in law time. Doesn't seem feasible to me.
It's yeah, for me, it's like, it's inconceivable. I just don't see how this can actually successfully be done and then have a solid argument, solid case up against the prosecution, who's been working on this for a good while now, right? They've been moving and shaking and doing everything they can. Grand juries and testimonies and all that stuff. You're telling me that you did all that too? You're prepared? You're fully prepared? I don't know. I feel some type of way about that. I don't know how true that is, in my personal opinion. But real quick, guys, you know, I just a quick small little commercial plug break type thing. Okay. So please do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Okay. Crush it. Do what it do. All right. That would really mean a lot. Let's get it past, let's get it to 2K. Why not? We're almost at 2K. Show some love. If you appreciate the conversation, if you're getting some answers, you know, some answers to your questions, please hit that like button down below. Don't forget to crush that subscribe button. If you're watching here, if you're watching anywhere else, follow. Okay, I'm on Rumble. I'm on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, all of them. Show some love. That'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you have any questions, guys, please comment in the family chat. I will do my best to read them for our friends that are going to be coming onto the show and all of that. And of course, definitely, let me do this now too, before I forget. Everyone, please go check out, please go check out nothing. Check out Andrea Burkhart's channel. Okay. It's at A Burkhart Law. Okay. At A Burkhart Law. Okay, go check out her YouTube channel. She's got some really great content over there, and obviously, as you can tell, she's very insightful. She knows what the hell she's talking about. She's a doggone lawyer, for crying out loud. Okay, you wouldn't be on here if you weren't a lawyer. I'm kidding.
Probably not.
But I appreciate your info, real talk, because you know I'm not a lawyer, so you know I like to get the info and get a better understanding of what the hell is going on, right?
Sure.
So yeah, guys. So of course, if you have any questions, please comment, and I'll make sure it gets answered. But really quick, Melly just said this. Thank you so much for being a member for the past 6 months, and of course, being a mod. I really do appreciate it. Andrea is so wonderful. So are you, Pascal. Oh, stop. Thanks for having on such knowledgeable guests. I mean, that's how we roll, right? Give this live a like. Yes, please hit the like button. Let's get it to 2K. Why not? Let's have some fun. Let's live on the edge. Shall we? All right. Getting wild and crazy. Let's see. Carbonize said, thank you so much for the love. If they let out a person who willfully and purposely hurt others for years, and he hurts someone again while he's out, then what? What's the court to do? Just curious. That's actually a good question.
Yeah, well, I mean, legally, there's nothing. The court is absolutely immune from prosecution for decisions that they make, in the course of being a judge, absolutely immune from civil liability. So they can't be sued for it. They can't be charged for it. The only potential consequence for it is moral. They're going to have to live with themselves knowing that they had a role in what happened to a future victim, and there's political blowback for it. But this is a federal court judge. He's appointed. He has lifetime tenure unless he is impeached by Congress to be removed. So that's almost never happens. That's not likely to happen just based on a decision if it otherwise is in good faith, but just a decision I think most of us would probably not agree with. Not going to be impeachable. High crimes or misdemeanors, misconduct in office, things like that. So actual consequences to the judge, none. There's none.
Yeah.
You just have to hope he has enough of a moral compass to be thinking down the line of the what ifs.
Right. Well, it's that's why it's important that they take. That's why it's important that they take this man down. If they have enough smoking gun evidence to take this man down, this is why they take him down now. Because if they don't take him down and then he gets out and he does more, then that's on the system too, right? That's on the court as well. I mean, that's on the judge. That's on everybody else who made the decision. Oh yeah, this guy is, he's good. He's good. He's innocent. Let him go. There's too much. There's too much evidence, guys. In my personal opinion, there's too much for this man to be able to walk free, completely unscathed. Let's just say that, completely unscathed. There's no way this man is walking out free as a bird. There is no way. That's just my personal opinion. Unless something happens and they find out that video's AI, and it's not. He's already said, yeah, I found God. I'm ashamed of what I did. He admitted it. He says it's me on that video, right? Now, again, if they use that evidence, if they throw and toss that evidence out and say they can't use it because it was leaked, one, I would be really, really surprised. I'd be absolutely shocked, right? If that was the case. But two, too late, baby. The whole world's seen it. The whole world has seen it. So how could they unsee it, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the main takeaway from this bail situation is really that I don't think it's likely that he's going to be released. But even if he is, let's take a hypothetical. He is released. The way that it's going to work in a federal court system, there's going to be a massive amount of restrictions on it. So obviously, very high bail that he would have to, he would forfeit that if he doesn't follow the orders. He doesn't show up to court. He tries to abscond, something like that. But in all likelihood, there would be a massive amount of restrictions as well. Home detention, or he's got to wear an ankle bracelet, or he's got to report to a probation officer, every so often, or all of the above. Just basic things that they can put in place to try to restrict and track his whereabouts to make sure that if there's any indication that he's going down a road that is going to potentially impair the justice in the case, that they know about it and then have the opportunity to respond to that. At this point, it pretty much seems like the burden for proposing that and what it would look like is going to be on the defense. Legally, that may not technically be the case, but we already know courts have found, he's a flight risk. He's a risk of intimidating witnesses. And so given the likelihood another court is going to find that as well, the defense is really then going to be in the position of having to say, well, but you could do X, Y, or Z to mitigate those risks. That's where I think the positioning is likely to happen with bail. As we get up into the next go around on that particular issue.
Yeah. Oh man. And this is going to be a very, very interesting roller coaster of a ride of conversations and stuff like. So that's the thing. I did not hear any confirmation on And maybe somebody in the chat knows. And hold on, let me make sure that I see the chat. That's number one. Number two, we did not hear anything about a gag order actually being implemented. I didn't hear anything about it. I mean, this, of course, was coming from a Twitter account that was like a fly on the wall, right? And they're just doing a live tweet and putting out information, but then they stopped. So we didn't hear anything on whether or not that was actually denied or confirmed. So that's one thing I'm very curious about for sure. But I am kind of curious I'm actually curious to ask you this though, too. When it comes to the 120 victims that have stepped forward, right? What are your thoughts on that? Because it's a lot of victims. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of paperwork. That's a lot of lawyers lawyering, okay, doing their Esquire. How can they know for sure whether or not these individuals, 120, are actually telling the truth?
I mean, it always comes down to corroboration, I think. With any particular person, testimony is absolutely evidence. It's certainly evidence. If you find testimony credible, legally, you're completely entitled to convict somebody of a crime just based on a person's testimony. And so part of the process of finding that person credible is you compare their stories to other stories, and you compare their stories to whatever objective evidence you have that would tend to confirm it or to deny it. So that's really all I think they're going to be able to do is put in their best efforts to vet these victims' stories. That I don't know that there is a guarantee that every single person, is going to be completely truthful for a variety of reasons. Okay, I'm not saying it's certainly possible there could be opportunists in there, that are making things up, but it's far more common, especially in this type of a situation where these are things that happened years ago. There's allegations of drugs, like mind-altering stuff, being involved. It's very normal to not have a clear memory of what happened or to have an inaccurate memory of what happened. And so that's, potentially another area that the defense may exploit,
right,
or try to exploit as the case goes on. So it's just a situation where I think that's part of the reason why they have pursued this in the way that they have, as a RICO, as a conspiracy, an ongoing operation type of allegation, so that they aren't super dependent on one single person's testimony making or breaking the entire case. With 120 victims, if 115 of them provide solid evidence that supports the theory, well, then if 5 of them are a little bit shaky, is that going to undermine the whole thing? Probably not as much. So to answer your question, I don't know that they're ever going to be able to, prove definitively that all of them are going to be, 100% truthful with everything. But I don't necessarily think that means that it undermines their case in any significant way.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm very because there's so many people, right? It's so many people, and allegedly they're saying it could quadruple, because let's not forget, this is something he's been doing for well over 2 decades. Close to 3 decades, and shoot, it could be more, right? It could literally be 3 decades plus. But this is something that did catch my attention that, of course, I wanted to get your attention or get your opinion on as well. And the reason why I asked about the 120 is also because of this right here. Okay. One of his accusers, okay, they just found out, just like the other day, it was a big breaking story, finding out that the ex-boyfriend was being bribed to allegedly corroborate her story. Now, the thing is, of course, we talked about this, and I sat there, I'm like, you know what? Wait a second now. Hold on. As much as we sit here and say, you find out this information about her, like offering him $3 million to basically say that he saw the footage and to corroborate the story. Part of me was like, well, you can look at that text message and interpret it 3, 4, 7 different ways if you wanted to, right? It could literally just be her saying, hey, I need you to step forward. I need your help. I'm willing to give you money at least for you to step up and speak on my behalf.
Mhm.
But of course, it can be spun in a way where it is like Thalia is basically trying to bribe her ex-boyfriend into being a witness to seeing this footage actually played in front of his face. So I
Mhm.
guess my question to you is like, how, one, is this solid enough to
Mhm.
basically say, yes, this is bribing and yes, she's lying and all that? Or is it different? Or do you disagree?
Mhm. Well, I definitely take your point about how it's it's somewhat ambiguous. It's not like crystal clear, explicit. I want to pay you money to lie about what I'm saying to support my claim against Diddy. But that is an inference from it, and so it's just going to become a battle of credibility. That's going to factor in. The defense is going to be looking for other potential issues that they can identify with her statement to argue she's not credible. It doesn't line up with X, Y, and Z corroboration. I mean, we talked about this last time. When there's a feeding frenzy, the sharks come out. And so you can't, not only can you not guarantee that there won't be some sharks that are attracted to this situation, because now he's an easy target. And there's also just the whole scramble. If everybody is trying to get a piece of him, it's, if you don't get in there now, you're going to lose your opportunity. So I don't think there's really not only any way that they can necessarily keep the sharks out, but just given who he is, the high profile nature and stuff like that. Honestly, Pascal, I might be shocked if there weren't situations like that. It's just unfortunately kind of normal, kind of part and parcel of celebrity, just in general, let alone on this type of scale. So I don't know that that's necessarily applies to this particular claimant. But it's certainly that is going to be an angle that the defense is going down, no question. They're going to argue that inference. It's a valid inference. Whether the jury believes it or not is the ultimate question.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with that particular case in general. Looking at that and going, okay, yeah, oh, absolutely, that is definitely bribing. But then at the same time, I'm wondering the full extent of what that text message is, because it could literally be like, I need you to lie. Send. Lie for me right now. Send. I will send you $3 million when this whole thing gets settled. How about that? Send. Right? You're my ex-boyfriend. You used to work for him. You want to get paid? Lie for me. Send. Now, that could literally be in the text messages, but that's not what is being has been exposed as of late, right? But at the end of the day, it's there. It's in the gray area.
Yeah.
The way I see it, it's definitely in the gray area. It could definitely lean one way or the other. But I am actually interested in hearing more info, right?
Yeah.
But real quick, I got a couple super chats. I want to grab these, a few of these. First off, Stacy, welcome to being a member. And just like Stacy, become a member. Hit that join button down below. Melly, thank you so much for gifting one membership. I really do appreciate it. I know I have a bunch of super chats, but and I will get to them, I promise. But this or members chats and super chats, I will get to them, I promise. But Interspecs said, Diddy didn't boom boom the car, or take down Aaliyah's plane, or even spike vodka or the baby oil. Others did it for him. Why aren't they arrested? Now, first off, thank you. I'm gonna clap to that, because here's the thing. Diddy definitely is not the only one involved in this situation. Let's keep it a bean. He is not the only one. He had enablers. He had cohorts. He had minions. He had little piss ants, if you want to call them, whatever you want to call them. He had a team of people that helped him do his thizzang, his thug thizzle, a very disturbing thug thizzle. Why haven't we seen any arrests? Because it's not even beyond just taking down the plane or boom booming Kid Cudi's car or the vodka and the baby oil. people had to help him do these things. Where are his assailants? Why aren't they, or his co-conspirators, why aren't they arrested right now? That is a question I still would love to get answered. What are your thoughts on that?
I think there's a couple answers to that. One, I mean, the FBI has told us we think that there are other people. There may be other suspects. This is a RICO case. Okay, you don't usually get a criminal conspiracy charged with one person, right? The whole point, the whole definition is that multiple people are involved. So that we know this is on investigators' radar, and they're likely going down that direction. Why haven't they been charged yet? I think there's probably two reasons why. One is that this is likely to be one of those areas where it's more of a follow-up investigation based on information that they've been able to obtain, like from Diddy's devices, from his financial records and things like that, to show, okay, who's on his payroll, what day are they on, what types of communications have they had, and so forth. It's going to help them narrow the field of who's potentially involved, who do they need to talk to, and then be able to follow up on that to substantiate criminal charges against other people that were involved. Part of that is because it's very possible, in fact, I would say it's almost certain that the FBI is probably trying to flip some of those people. If they can identify employees, for example, who maybe had knowledge but weren't so, personally complicit, didn't necessarily commit the worst wrongs themselves.
Good point.
But are willing to provide information to law enforcement to help them identify the other people, that's going to be very valuable. It's going to be a core part of that process. So this is the prisoner's dilemma problem, right? Everybody who had a hand in it knows they had a hand in it. And now that Diddy has gone down, everybody can see very high risk that the house of cards is going to topple. So very potentially a scramble, who's going to be the first to be able to save their own skin by selling out everybody around them. I very much suspect that the FBI is working to cultivate informants, and here, may already have them. But that type of process, getting that information and then following up on it to be able to really nail down other people, that's the reason for the holdup in charges against others.
Okay. I mean, you got a good point there that there could be potentially a situation where these people, these other people, these conspirators, these co-defendants and all that could flip, right? Could turn on Diddy and go, yeah, I saw everything and he did all that, and then some. So yeah, that's a good point. I guess also that's the other thing though, too. All the other co-conspirators, I have yet to see them put on the chopping block in the town square so far. We've heard names, there's been allegations of names, but none of them have really been exposed and really been like I don't know what the word is, but like just having that full on public quartering. We haven't seen that. It's all just been on Diddy. And there are people that are alleged of doing certain things. And I'm not sitting here saying that they need to definitely be thrown under the bus if there's no proof, because there's no smoking gun evidence. There's no video of an attack where a co-conspirator, or a co-defendant is sitting there like cheering him on or engaging in it, right? We have yet to see that so far. But it is interesting that none of those people have yet to be out here even speaking out. Okay. I mean, let's look at, for example, Young Miami. She is a co-conspirator. She is listed as a co-defendant in one of these lawsuits right now. And we haven't heard a damn thing from her. The only reason why we heard something from Jay-Z and Beyonce is because of Piers Morgan, because of an interview that he had on his show. So, I think it's just very interesting that, and I get the angle, but in a way I feel like, all right, if there's more than just one person that did this, because definitely it took a village to do this, right? A team, an organization to do this. Where are their charges, or where are they getting actually detained, and where's their perp walk, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think part of the challenge with that too is let's imagine hypothetically, even though this is a prisoner's dilemma situation, everyone is terrified of what could happen to them if they talk, right? So there's a lockdown. Nobody is cooperating. Nobody is giving law enforcement any information about what was going on behind the scenes. Well, that leaves law enforcement to piece it together themselves. And trust me, they're going to be able to do that. Give them enough time. They're going to be able to go through and see, oh, according to the Outlook records, this particular person had a meeting with Diddy. And then 5 minutes after the meeting, they placed an order on Amazon for, 500 bottles of baby oil. And then got on Backpage and browsed, ads, things like that. They're going to be able to document very likely through people's digital activity, what their involvement was in this undertaking. Some of the issues here may just be, again, going to time frame, because a lot of what was alleged, it didn't take place yesterday. And so there's just different types and types of evidence, quantities of evidence that are going to be available. But that's the steps that law enforcement is going to have to take if they can't get a helping hand from somebody who wants to cut a deal with them potentially and share that information.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. But Andrea, I want to say thank you so much for hopping on with me and talking with me about all this. Very informative. Of course, what else is new? Not a surprise. But guys, please go check out her YouTube channel again. All right, it is at A. Burkhart Law. Okay, at A. Burkhart Law. Go check her out. Subscribe. Let her know that you were sent to her by the Pascal Show. That'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, and show her some love, because she's obviously very informative, and she's been here a million times on the show. Okay, and we are deep diving into this Diddy stuff like crazy. So hopefully you are getting very comfortable, Andrea, because you'll be summoned quite a bit over the next couple weeks or months or years, however long this takes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, this one could be on the docket for quite some time, I think, for not just because for all the obvious reasons it's going to take a while to investigate and to get through discovery and all that stuff. But Diddy is a rich man. He can afford high-powered legal team. They're going to litigate this case to the hilt. There's no reason not to. That's going to naturally take time as well, but it's also going to give us a lot of information, a lot of food for discussion and analysis about what's happening with the case and the direction that this post-charging investigation has taken.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much for being on, and it's about to be, this is going to be very interesting very soon. I think we're all going to be armchair lawyers by the end of this trial. We're all going to know everything. Hearsay, you know what I mean? Objection. Just wait for it. It's about to be insane. But Andrea, thank you so much for being on. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Pascal. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Guys, again, please be sure to go and show her some love. Subscribe to her channel. She's very fantastic. Obviously, she knows what the hell she's talking about. We just had a great conversation with her covering a whole bunch of stuff. But we are not done yet. We are not done yet. Okay, guys, we got somebody else, another lawyer coming on to the show. Today is a day of lawyers. Okay, we got a lot of esquires coming in and what's the word? Showing off their legal skills. I don't know. I'm out of words right now. Okay, but please welcome. You've seen her on the show a million times before too, but she's back again. Danny on direct. What's up? How you doing?
Doing really well. Just here to show off my legal skills. So
Yes.
I'm excited to be here.
I am a wordsmith. I don't think you understand. I am a doggone wordsmith. I'm very, very good at the legalese. I don't know what I'm saying, but how you doing?
I'm doing really well. I am excited to see this happening and moving forward. I was excited to see that the defense is so confident that they want to move this trial up to May or April of next year, which is either complete delusion or the best defense strategy I've ever seen to try and, show some confidence and say, yeah, we've got this. We're talking 4 terabytes of information. Do you know how long it would take to get through 2 terabytes of video footage?
You know what? That's tell me how long. Go ahead. You have the
Approximately
math?
40 days. So
40
either they
days?
have the world's best, largest legal team in the business, which they may have,
Damn.
or they're trying to move this forward and push it so that the state has to juggle 2 different strategies. So the state has to, or 2 different rules. The state needs to turn over all their Brady information, all of the evidence, all of the discovery, everything they plan on using at trial, they need to turn over. And they have to do that here very quickly. And they're telling the court, no, we can absolutely get it to you as soon as possible, probably even by December, and we're good to go. Actually, you're not calling us on our bluff. And yeah, we can do either trial date. In reality, though, I think the court, or at least the prosecution, is getting ready to file a superseding claim, a superseding indictment against Sean Diddy Combs. And that's based on all of the witnesses that have come forward, all of the additional evidence, and everything that they can now bring into trial that they may have not had access to before, or may have not been clearly aware of. And now they're vetting other cases. We see this case coming out in Texas, and they're going, okay, maybe the public is expecting more. Maybe it's best if we go ahead and file this superseding indictment and get him on all these other charges and have it all stick. I think they went with the simplest solution to get him into trial and to get going and to hopefully stop some of the hurt for some of the victims, to stop the criminal enterprise. But now that they've done that, their next move, I think, will be to go ahead and file the superseding indictment here shortly.
Interesting. Okay, because I keep wondering, one, I mean, how are they going to be able to successfully get through everything, all the discovery, everything, all the proof, all the evidence, all the data, etc., to present a strong argument? So in my mind, I'm like, May 5th, are you sure that's enough time? That's not enough time to really put it together, unless, I mean, but you got to remember, think about this too, because they're putting together a team, right? So if people are working on each device or a terabyte each, right? Doesn't that scrunch down the time a little bit if they're able to get all the information through spreading out the work load?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Right?
They can, on both sides. Both sides, I think, are capable of getting it to trial. But what the defense is trying to do is head off at the pass this inevitable superseding indictment. So what they're trying to do is overload their opposition, overload the prosecutors. So now the prosecution team not only has to go through 4 terabytes of data, get everything turned over, make sure that they have their ducks in a row, get prepared for trial. They also have to now balance that against the time they're going to dedicate towards, another grand jury indictment, making sure that their ducks are in a row there. I'm hopeful that they have already started working on the second and superseding grand jury indictment, but I'm not confident that they have been. And I don't think that the defense thinks that they have been either. So this is a very bold strategy by the defense to try and overwhelm them. You saw this, if anyone's ever seen Better Call Saul, that's one of the things that's warned about in the show by his brother, where he says, that's great that you want to sue this giant law firm and you want to take on this, old folks home, or the management company of the old folks home. They will bury you. They will bury you in all sorts of paperwork that you cannot get out of, you can't handle. And even if you had an entire team of attorneys, they'll just keep sending you requests for information, sending you requests for discovery, sending you this, sending you these subpoenas, it's just going to become overwhelming. That, I think, is the goal of the defense team right now, is to come out and show strength, right? Whether they can actually get to trial in May, remains to be considered. Obviously, if he were already out of jail and they haven't had a whole hearing on this bail appeal, I don't know if it was brought up today in court. Do you know?
Sorry, say that again. If what
I
was
don't
brought
know
up?
if his bail appeal was mentioned in court today. My understanding is that's to go to a different judge.
So that's something that's interesting, and I'm actually pulling this up. That's why I didn't hear you on that that last piece, because something just came up, and I'm a little confused about this too. So hold on. Sorry, my computer's kind of tripping a little bit. Hold on. Where the heck is it? There we go. Okay. Because this is confusing, and maybe you can explain this to me too, because like I said, I'm not a lawyer. Here it is. Okay. And this is from Inner City Press. It says Combs appealed previous judge's denial of his bail application. Interesting. So it's pending in the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, not before the district judge to whom the case has been reassigned, the Subramian. Okay. Today he said, there's no bail application pending before me. What the hell is going on here? Because that sounded like he's outside the house while he's inside the house, and inside the house he's outside the house, and therefore he's inside the house. What the hell's going on with this? Can you put this in layman terms for us laymans?
Yeah. So think of it in terms of, you mentioned a house. Think of it being on level 1. So level 1 is your federal district court judge. And when the federal district court judge makes a ruling, if he wants to appeal it, he's going to have to appeal it to the second level. Okay. So they got to go upstairs and they got to talk to the judge upstairs specifically about that. And they will have a completely separate hearing on that. They will look over the evidence, and it's going to be a hard burden to overcome. The presumption, or excuse me, a hard presumption to overcome for the defense. The presumption is that unless there was an abuse of authority, an abuse of discretion by the district court judge, the appeals court judge is inclined to agree with the district court judge. Now, I thought their argument was very strong for bail at the district court level, at the lower level. So if you think about it this way, you know, everybody's on the lower court, right? The lower level of the house. They just swapped out one of the judges. That's all. So a different judge on that same level came in and took over the case. We haven't switched out up. We haven't gone upstairs. We're all still downstairs.
Gotcha.
And so they can't argue this issue. He has nothing to look at in front of him today. He's like, okay, it's great that you're asking me to review that again and mentioning it, but I have nothing in front of me, nor should he have anything in front of him. But the attorneys want to put on a good show. They want to zealously represent their client. So of course they're going to ask, even though they know it's probably going to be denied.
I see. Okay. So it's inevitable that he's going to be denied when he goes into the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, correct?
Pretty much. I mean, I couldn't see another argument to keep him from being denied. That's why they're pushing this too. That's why they're being slightly delusional and saying, let's get this done as quickly as we can, right? Because he doesn't want to spend any extra time in jail. I think his defense attorneys know that they'll likely be denied even at the appeals court level if they all go upstairs and they meet with the appeals court judge. Appeals court judge is going to say, look, district court judge called this. I'm going to trust district court judge's opinion downstairs. Okay. Our judges tend to do this. I think it's the right thing to do. Think of it in terms of like, if you have two parents, right? You go to mom, you say, hey mom, can I go do XYZ thing? Mom says no. Dad is more inclined to agree with mom's decision and not question it unless mom abused her authority and power and didn't look at all the facts or missed something, or that there's some kind of new evidence or something else that she should have considered that, you know, mom and dad agreed they were going to consider together, but then they didn't consider it, right?
Right.
In that case, the other parent obviously can turn around and say, all right, now I'm going to grant your appeal. I know that that's what the other parent said, but we're going to grant it. So generally speaking, they want to rely on the decision of the first judge. But I think that the defense knows they're going to be denied again. That's why they're pushing for this to go so quickly. Obviously, if they thought they were going to win their appeal, they'd be saying, let's not have this trial next year. Let's push it out for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, because they're confident that they'll win on appeal and be able to get their guy out, and he can just hang out at his house with all the conditions and enjoy his freedom for a couple more years.
Interesting. Okay. It's like, okay, mom, can I go spend the night at Rick's house? And she's like, yeah. But then dad's like, what did your mom say? You know, she said, yeah. Or she says no, and then he's like, well, let me talk to her, and it's like, oh, they smoke crack at that house. Well, obviously it's a no, so
Right.
no, son. So I get it.
Right.
I get it. Okay. So that's what's basically happening here. I mean, sans the crack. Okay, guys.
And if you think about what's going on with the courts right now, because you had mentioned that they'd switched out judges at the district court level, think of it as like, instead of it being mom, now there's a different decision maker. Now there's like a babysitter and aunt, right, who stepped in and is like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on. Like, in terms of what your mom and dad are discussing, like, you're going to go have to talk to your dad. That's basically what happened today in regards to the appeal. In regards to everything else, she's now in charge, or he is now in charge of the case moving forward at a district court level. So everything else, it's right in front of them, and they can make a determination on how to proceed, when trial is going to be done by, when is discovery going to be done by, what do we still need in terms of discovery? Are there other motions that you want to have heard? Is P. Diddy being picked on in jail? Do we need to discuss that, right? In the case of Sarah Boone, do you need new clothes or a makeup artist, right? So all of those things come in at this stage, and that's what they're trying to work out and just go through the logistics of today.
I see. Okay. Yeah, because like I said, it's very interesting. What happened today. Obviously, a lot of us were expecting it to be an appeal, a bail appeal hearing. But that didn't, obviously wasn't the case. And of course, there was a lot of things that we're talking about. They were talking about the discovery and terabytes, the video that was leaked, and all that. And I'm actually curious about your opinion about this too. We just asked Andrea Burkhart, but I am kind of curious about your thoughts on this too. And maybe you have a opposing view on this. You never know. So the footage that was leaked, right, that they say was leaked by the federal government, right, by the feds, does that mean anything for their case? Could it hurt? Could it help?
It could hurt. It could hurt the case for the prosecution to the extent that if the pool of jurors have seen the video and it changes the way that they see the defendant, can they truly be fair and impartial after watching that video? That's going to come down to the voir dire process and selecting jurors. Unfortunately, you read the letter that the defense attorney sent over to the court where they say this isn't the first time that this has happened. It seems to be that the federal government is very, very comfortable with skirting around the rules, flat out breaking the rules, releasing information that's good for the state, good for them, makes the defendant look guilty well before a trial, and basically disturbing the process without any sanctions, without any sort of consequences against the state. When is the judge going to step in and say, enough's enough? We're done with these types of tactics. We're not going to tolerate this. You can't just go willy-nilly leaking information when we all agreed that we were going to be mum's the word and everything was going to be silent before trial. Everything was going to be sealed because we want to preserve the process. We don't want the potential jurors to be influenced by watching the video. Now, my personal opinion, whether it came from the feds is going to be a little challenging to prove unless they've admitted it already. And then even if it did come through the feds, it's not something that was relied on. And this is the argument by the state. This is not something we relied on in bringing a grand jury indictment. And so it's not something that you can exclude because nobody really has seen this video until now. It's sort of outside of the realm of what you are trying to protect, court. This has not entered into the trial. It's not entered into the case, legally speaking, yet. And so we can't help if that sort of evidence is floating around out there. And even if it is, it doesn't necessarily bias the jury. And so there is no real sanctions here. There's no sanctionable activity. Worst case scenario, they say, oh, it was a whoopsie. Somebody left it out. Someone got in trouble.
Right.
And maybe they get a little reprimand by the court, but that's about all that happens.
That's the thing. I'm like, how are you going to prove that, dog? Like, how are you going to prove that they did this in some sinister type of way? Let's just leak this. And then they said, it was choreographed. It was orchestrated. Get out of here. Miss me with the nonsense. How are you going to prove that this was done in that type of manner? They even said, oh, it can't be Cassie. She's not the one who leaked it. But what if it was? Think about, she has everything riding on that, showing that it exonerates her. It shows that she's not a liar. It shows that this man is a monster, and what she claimed, at least some of the things that she claimed, is actually true in her lawsuit, in the documents. So of course she has motive like a mug to let this thing leak. It's the most ridiculous thing for them to sit there and try to move the goalpost in the way that they're doing. It's just idiotic, in my personal opinion. Just idiotic.
I totally agree, but I understand the frustration of defense, right? It does somewhat prejudice especially the public opinion of their client.
True.
He hasn't been proven guilty in a court of law yet. By all legal measures, he's innocent still. And so is it fair for him to suffer the consequences of being a convicted felon for the crimes he's accused of if he never even did any of the things he's accused of? Now, that all being said, my guess is that it may have even been someone at the hotel who got access to the footage somehow and sold it to TMZ. Like, there's a ton of financial benefit to a third party going and doing this outside of the parties who are engaged in the case.
I'm just saying, it could be the guy that got paid the 10 grand to turn away and get rid of the evidence. He could have been like, all right, I'll take that 10 grand, but I'm holding on to this footage. And when the time is right, I'm just going to drop it like it's hot. And that's what he did. That's a possibility too, right? Dude had his cake and he got to eat it too. That's crazy. So to me, it's like, it could be anybody. You can keep grasping at straws, moving the goalpost as best as you can. But at the end of the day, you got God. And you've been exposed. Sure, it doesn't show that you are it doesn't show that you are an absolute monster. It shows that you are violent. It shows that you are a monster to a certain extent. Doesn't show any freak-offs. Doesn't show littles, and minors and whatnot. It doesn't show any of that. But it does show that you have a mean streak. It does show you have a history of violence for sure. The rest is still in the hands of the feds. And I guess we're going to wait and see what information they have. Also, the footage, these videos that are allegedly being up in a bidding war right now, depicting multiple celebrities and whatnot. In my mind, I'm going, okay, first off, why haven't these been leaked like ever? They've never been leaked. That's weird. 2, you got 4 videos now. They say 4 that are circulating right now by in a bidding war by media outlets trying to buy this footage.
That's disgusting.
How is that true? Is it true? I don't know. But at the same time, if it's still depicting somebody who's not of age, why would you want that footage in the first place? And why would you even try to shop that around? That means you're holding something that's illegal. You're holding CP, guys. That's not good. So why would anybody go, yeah, I got some CP. Who wants to buy some CP? You're just exposing your own self. What the hell's wrong with you? So it's very bad. But go ahead. What are you going to say?
Well, and allegedly, if what the defense is claiming is true, that if what the state is alleging is true, that the participants were not willing participants, that this was done against their will, without their consent, you are still in possession of criminal video footage of a crime occurring. And to me, that's really disgusting that they're shopping it around.
Exactly.
It's disgusting. It really is, because what that means is that the highest bidder could be the person who's involved, right? It could be an ex-president. It could be a politician who's in office. It could be a CEO, an athlete, an athletic association who doesn't want the brand of their athlete being damaged because it completely destroys their entire brand.
Yep.
So, it could be any one of those scenarios, and that's deeply disturbing to me that they're just saying, yeah, whoever wants the video can have it. I would hope that the prosecutors already have said videos. I would assume that they do, but even then, you can't tell if these people are victims or not. And that's the one issue that most people have, the moral issue and conundrum a lot of people have with porn and the mass distribution online, is you can't tell what is truly consensual and what is not. What is the product of an independent creator and what is the product of, HT. I don't know if I can say that online, but let's say the forcing of someone to engage in activity that they don't want without compensation. Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah. And again, it is very disturbing that stuff is even out. I agree with you 100%. And it's depicting somebody's worst moment, most likely. It's, especially if it's like they're under the influence, they have no knowledge of the situation. If it's an actual act of SA, then these people who are shopping it around are shopping around crimes. That's literally what it is, right? So it is kind of crazy to think that that's even a real thing. At least that's what's been mulling around in the rumor mill. But again, I've yet to see any of this footage. No one said, well, actually, I wouldn't want to see this footage. Let me just say that too. But the fact that it hasn't been leaked out there, that it's not on P-Hub somewhere or some random like World Star or something like that, I feel like it would have been out there somewhere by now. Over decades, and this stuff never came out. That's wild to me. But I do have something. One last thing before I have to wrap up the show. I do have a question for you. Okay, so you know about Jaguar Wright, right?
Yes.
Okay, so she was on Piers Morgan just like last week. She had some very, very scathing things to say about Jay-Z and Beyonce, right? So Piers Morgan, about 2 days later, went on to his show and he said this.
Thing about platforms, the reality of the modern world is that pretty much everyone has a platform as long as there's something to say that other people want to hear. That's why we invited her on to be interviewed. The people making these claims have an audience with or without shows like mine. Well, Jaguar Wright unexpectedly made several serious allegations about Jay-Z and Beyonce during that interview. As I said in the moment, they were not present to respond or defend themselves, but now they have. Their lawyers contacted us to say that those claims were totally false and have no basis in fact, and we've therefore complied with the legal request to cut them from the original interview. Editing interviews is not something we do lightly at a show called Uncensored. But, like the proverbial cries of fire in a crowded theatre, there are legal limits on us too. And we apologize to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Okay. So you saw that. Now, I talked about this on my second channel already, and I definitely had my own personal opinions about this, but I wanted to hear this on a legal standpoint, right? He's bringing this person on. He is just a platform. Now, I get it. Like, let me just say this too. I get it that he did bring her on. This is the decision that he made. I'm assuming that he did his due diligence, right? By checking out who this woman is, what she stands for, what she says. And I will say this too. I don't believe everything she says, but I do also believe that a broken clock can be right 2 times a day. Now, with that being said, she said some very scathing things about Beyonce and Jay-Z, basically saying like, they're hiding kids and they're doing crazy ritualistic things. And they're very nasty people, as she said, stuff like that. Monsters, right? So, of course, this got Jay-Z and Beyonce so mad, it moved them enough to literally go and it wasn't even a cease and desist, by the way. It was not even that. He was given an ultimatum. And this is what what Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyer said on TMZ, that he gave Piers Morgan an ultimatum. Now that you have all that background info, when I look at this situation, I go, wait a second. Now, this dude has a platform. He's bringing people on. They're talking about things. It's not like he has his hands shoved up their ass and making them flap their gums. If they say what they say, they say what they say. He did say, and it's true, he did say during that time, he's like, hey, Beyonce and Jay-Z are not here to defend themselves on those claims. And he just kind of moved on with the conversation. How is he in trouble over Jaguar Wright? I just am trying to understand that part.
So I don't know the context of the show they were in. That will matter because if the viewers are led to believe that he's acting as a reporter, reporting on the news, if they're led to believe that he is presenting to them facts and evidence that will go into the case, then that looks a lot more like defamation. And that's something that no organization wants to be involved in. And so they will back all the way up and say, whoa, 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 we're so sorry. We didn't know she was going to say that. We haven't vetted those claims. And we don't know if they're true or not. And so as a result of that, we have to assume they aren't true. And we're going to go ahead and redact the interview and we're going to apologize. They're playing their cards right to avoid a defamation lawsuit. What I do find interesting about this, though, is that if it is Piers Morgan Uncensored, if other people have made outrageous claims on their show, which they have on multiple occasions, there are other guests who have come on the show and said horrible, vitriolic, just plain evil things that everyone assumes and knows the program doesn't agree with. And so it's going to come down to, is the public going to likely be confused regarding the position of Piers Morgan and the news outlet? No news outlet should be held, in my opinion, not news outlet. That's the problem, is it sounds like they're a news outlet, right? He has come from a news organization. But I think if you have an opinion article and you're in the opinion section of the newspaper, and it's very clear that this is an opinion-based show, that he's presenting opinions for which the network might not agree, I think you've more than covered your basis. I think their concern, the larger concern, comes down to financial concerns. Did they just piss off every single Beyonce and Jay-Z fan by not issuing the retraction and not coming out with a statement to say, we have no idea who this crazy lady is, we don't believe her, blah, blah, blah? To me, it's overkill, but from a general financial perspective, it makes sense. They want to appear as neutral as possible, present the claims against P. Diddy. P. Diddy is safe to accuse right now. P. Diddy is locked up. P. Diddy is at the end of his career. And this is something that you and I discussed last time.
Right.
Stars, as they start to fizzle out and they're towards the end of their career, are much easier to attack in the public sphere than someone like Jay-Z or Beyonce, who are at the height of their career. I personally believe Jaguar. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I have no reason not to believe her. I think that she has an inside scoop. She's been right about so many other things that it makes me go, maybe. But regardless, it's still rumor and speculation. I don't think they had to go as far as they did. That tells me that they're scared of not a lawsuit, but of being framed as being conspiratorial, right-wing, conservative. Oh, Piers Morgan's just on the other side, and he's just a conspiracy theorist who believes in the whole, all of these allegations being raised on the internet, and he lacks credibility. That's, I think, what they're way more afraid of than the potential legal consequences of the case. I think they'll win on a legal basis. I don't think that's their concern.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I mean, okay. So Piers Morgan and his show, there is a bigger person that basically funds his show. His name is Rupert Murdoch. Okay. Billionaire. Okay. He runs a lot of different, he's a media mogul. Okay. And he runs a lot of different outlets. And one of them happens to be an outlet that Piers Morgan is under, and his shows are being funded under. Now, in my mind, I instantly think Jay-Z and Beyonce are ridiculously rich. Who's in their corners? Not just some regular guy that's, at McDonald's flipping burgers and working on fries. They're talking and hobgobbling and rubbing elbows with big names, big movers. You got to remember, I mean, Jay-Z owns, I think, a football team. I don't remember. He owns a bunch of different things. The dude got big money, right? And let's not forget about Beyonce too. She got B's in her bank account too. So you look at that and you go, okay, those people are in his corner. Then you bring in Piers Morgan, who is, some people love him, some people hate him. Okay. Some people think he's just there for the salaciousness. Some people think that he's, there to do the news. I leave that up to you guys. but he brings on someone who is extremely vocal about her thoughts. Some of these things, like you just said, you believe her. Whether you believe it or not, she has no backing. There's no proof of those things. Now, the things that about Diddy, let's be real, Diddy's in trouble now. So that's all coming to fruition right now, right? But as far as any of the other stuff, the Illuminati stuff, the adrenochrome stuff, the all that other stuff, all that crazy.
Oh, did she mention that too?
No. But she's been on other shows. But she's known to be on other shows to say these kinds of things. Okay. She didn't say that. She didn't get an opportunity. She didn't get an opportunity to talk about that. Okay. Because I know for a fact if she was talking crazy on that, he would have been apologizing to more than just Beyonce and Jay-Z. There'd be a whole lot of other people he'd be apologizing to for sure. But in the short amount of time that she was on, she did drop some crazy stuff, some wild stuff. Now, I wouldn't say crazy. It's unfair to say crazy, but wild things, okay, that have not been backed at all. Diddy, like I agree with you. Yes, he in trouble. And a lot of the things that were speculated about him are now we're seeing it materialize right in front of our faces. But when she started dragging in Beyonce and Jay-Z saying that there's bodies buried in suitcases out there, so on and so forth, woo, those are allegations that have no merit, that have no proof. So of course, it's coming out of her mouth, though. He's not saying it. Sure, he's bringing her on because he knows for a fact he's going to get clicks on it. She's big right now, especially right now. She's huge. Because everybody's going, damn, I was wrong about Jaguar. Jaguar, my bad, girl. Yo, I need to go re-listen to every single episode you've ever done on your podcast or on your YouTube channel so I could just make sure I'm caught up. She might be saying everything that's true. He knows that he's doing this for clicks. He knows he's getting the views and the eyeballs on his show and also expanding to possibly a new demographic of listeners by bringing her on. But he has no control over what she says. So he did say, as soon as she started talking wild, he tried to rein her back in by saying, hey, they're not here to defend themselves, right? And then he kind of moved on into back into the Diddy stuff, right? He kind of, put her back towards her true north, right? So how's he on the chopping block of possibly losing funding or losing his job, even getting a defamation lawsuit for something that he has no control over, which is the person's mouth, the other person's mouth? Do they have any legal standing to sue peers for real?
They may. The threat is enough, but I don't think, again, I don't think that that's the concern necessarily. I think it's a lack of funding, a loss of funding. Now knowing that about Murdoch, most likely he has competing interests in defending those two individuals. If there are financial investments he's made into either of those individuals or their properties and their assets, then obviously he's going to want to protect them and their image, which is exactly what I was saying before, right? There are other individuals, larger corporations that are going to get involved to make sure that they clean up the reputation of whoever they're associated with. What I do find fascinating about Jaguar is that if what she is saying is untrue, if she was not confident in what she was saying and she didn't have some basis in what she's saying, not saying that she does, she may just be reckless. She may just be cray-cray, okay? But if she was afraid of these people and what they might do to her, legally speaking, and she wasn't confident in what she was saying, she wouldn't be saying it. Because if even Pierce Morgan is keeping his mouth shut and saying, no, we don't have evidence of that.
Right.
Then you have to wonder, right? That's why I say I tend to believe her over Pierce Morgan or anyone else, because she's the one she is the one who's at greatest risk in terms of legal liability, concerns. She could end up bankrupting herself, 10 times over. She could end up losing her entire reputation, her life, her career, the connection she has in the industry. But I don't think that she's saying anything outside of the realm of possibility, to be frank. I had mentioned that there's a possibility that there may be deaths associated with this criminal enterprise that haven't been noted, that haven't been noticed, and that won't be brought up. And another reason I tend to agree, or at least somewhat give her some credibility, is if you look at the case of a certain Mr. J.E., in that case, NBC had the story 4 years before it was republished and resurfaced and came to the forefront. And it was, who was it? Project Veritas that got the video of one of the news anchors relenting, being so upset, so callously upset and disgusted that that story was robbed from her, that she went up the chain to get approval to talk about the JE case 3 years prior to him being arrested again, 3 years prior to everything resurfacing. She said, I had everything. I had the victims. I had the island. I had everything on Clinton. I had the travel documents. It's insane that I was shut down. This is messed up. Now, she was messed up because she was upset that she missed out on the story. She missed out on the clout, right? That's why she was mad. Not that the truth was never revealed. Not that the truth was shut down by NBC for more than 3 years. We suspect more than 3 years.
I mean, well, when it comes to JE, that of course that's a whole other can of worms as well, and obviously that's a whole other conversation in itself, which is, the list has never been put out, so on and so forth. And yes, there are other people out here that know information, and they have not been, they have not had that stuff out, or we will never, unfortunately, it seems like we will never actually see. We will never actually see the truth, which is kind of frustrating about that. And I even say this too, and this is a little bit of left turn, but I'm gonna get right back on course here in a second. I even believe that if we get a certain president or person into presidency, we're still never gonna see the list. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't think we're ever gonna see that list ever. It doesn't matter who's promising such and such. Trump has been promising that he's gonna, as soon as once I get back in office, the list is coming out.
For JE or P. Diddy?
JE. You know what I mean? Now, yeah, interesting. And let's be real. Whatever side you were on, I don't care politically. I don't. But I'm just saying that's something that I just feel is a full-on lie, right? But when it comes to this, okay, when it comes to Jaguar Wright and the things that she's been saying, like, I get it. There's things in here, there's, like I said before, a broken clock can be right 2 times a day. But at the same time, until we actually have more proof of said thing, it's tough for her to be putting out information out there, especially on such a platform, a big platform like Piers Morgan's Uncensored Show. It's a big thing to say on a channel like that. And it's true. He has had people on his show that have talked crazy on his show. That's the whole purpose of the show. He brings in people with opposing views, and he's kind of like the ringleader. You know what I mean? He's kind of the mediator. He brings in hardcore leftists and extreme rights and all that stuff, and he puts them all in one room basically, virtually, and he just lets them have at it. He sits back and he just watches these people lose their minds, arguing with each other and all that stuff. That's what he's known for, or at least that's what that channel or that show is known for. Now he can basically call the show censored because he cut out that piece. It's not like he sat there 10 toes down and said, nah, I ain't doing nothing. The show's called Uncensored for a reason. She said what she said. That didn't come out my mouth. It came out hers. I tried to rebuttal and basically say, hey, they're not here to defend themselves, and then we moved on to the next topic, and that was it. So it is interesting that he is backing down. The other thing too, I will say this too, his show ain't live. The show is pre-recorded. So he could have had an opportunity to literally go and just cut that ish out. Sure, Jaguar Wright would have been sitting there saying, hey, you cut out the part about Jay-Z and Beyonce, right? But at the same time, if it was going to be a problem, he could have had an opportunity ahead of time before this even aired for him to nip it in the bud and call it a day. But unfortunately, that's not the case here. But that's the thing, though. I look at it and I'm like, all right, you have a show called Uncensored. That's the whole point. It's like going Piers Morgan Raw. Okay, it's Raw. Let them talk. If that's how they're going to talk, that's how they're going to talk. If you lose the platform, then hey, there's always Rumble. There's always other platforms in which you could do the show. You see what I'm saying? So,
oh yeah,
it's interesting.
It is interesting.
Somebody's in his pocket. Somebody's hand is in his pocket, and I think he got scared, and he's like, "Damn." Well, and like I said, his lawyer, the Beyonce and Jay-Z's lawyer, even said, "Yo, we gave him an ultimatum. That's it." You know what I mean? We gave him an ultimatum. We didn't sit there and go, "Can you please?" Or we're going to give you a cease and desist. No, they said, "We're giving you an ultimatum. Either you take that issue down or you're going to have some problems." That's crazy. In other words, they're that powerful that they can literally take that man's job. The other thing I also thought was interesting is that was the only time that we've heard anybody in Diddy's corner or that are in Diddy's orbit saying something. Moving or saying something to
I had no involvement.
Yeah.
You better take this down because it's not true. You're right. This is at least the first time I've heard of it. Yeah. Where anyone's come out publicly and said, yeah, I went to the parties, but it's not true. I had no involvement in this. Or, yeah, I went over to it. Like Ellen DeGeneres ain't coming out and saying what she was doing at these parties, right? Like she hasn't come out and claimed she wasn't there. Same with Oprah. Pull out the list. Pull out the list of the names we already know. People who've already talked about it, right? Where we already have photos of some people at the white party, right? So it is interesting that this is the tipper. And what it makes me wonder is what is Mr. Murdoch concerned about?
I'm wondering about that too. One
Why?
thing is interesting. That's a good question too. I'm sorry. I got to play this. Yes. What does Rupert Murdoch know? And why is his name Rupert? It's a weird name to be named. Anyway, but here it is. Nicole B even said this too, which is interesting too. To me, that means it's all true. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, if you really think about it, why would they trip? Why would they be tripping so hard? The other thing I also realize is that, let's keep it a buck, no one's going to be bringing Jaguar Wright to any major network shows ever again. It's a wrap. I want you to know that it's a wrap. You are never going to see Jaguar Wright on CNN. You're not going to see our News Nation. You ain't never going to see her on Court TV, MSNBC, or any of these major networks at all. Why? Because of what just happened. They just let her on the show. She talked her talk, okay, and almost got Piers Morgan fired, if not worse than just fired. And that's crazy to me. And the fact that they responded that quickly about that, when there's so many rumors spreading around the world about not only just Jay-Z and Beyonce, so many other people, Ashton Kutcher, and all the other people too, their reaction was so fast that they said, no, you ain't gonna, no. She's saying some crazy stuff now. We gotta nip this in the bud. She ain't going to go see any TV shows ever again. Okay. Mm-hmm. So watch, guys. That's crazy. That's crazy. They just silenced her through silencing Piers Morgan. Ain't that about a shut your mouth?
Well, and that's why Biden made Trump a liar when Trump is saying, "Oh, I'll release the documents. I'll release the list." We had the list. And Biden shut that down by getting the AG fired down in the Virgin Islands. She could have continued that criminal lawsuit against Chase Bank. Chase Bank had actual freaking transactions that the perpetrators used their Chase app.
Wow.
That was the allegation. That's what they signed with the consent form, that they knew this, that these issues were raised up the chain of command, and that the SEO of Chase Bank and their individual relations SEO, that he was involved in this too, directly. Directly. And everyone just kind of threw up their hands and went, okay, we sort of agree. Oh, how much do you want us to pay federal government? 25 million. Okay, let's settle. Do you think that same AG, if it were the same AG, would have settled? I'll tell you what, no, because she indicated that. She said, I'm not settling. We're not going to allow them to settle. We're not going to be offering them any sort of plea deals. We're not offering a consent form for them to fill out or to sign. We want this going to trial because if it went to trial, it would all be publicly available information because it's all discovery. It's all coming in.
Crazy.
And they couldn't allow that to happen. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, it's not outside of the realm of possibility. We saw it happen before. Why not see it happen again?
No. I mean, I could definitely see that. And that's crazy because, you know, the cover up could already be en route, right? It could already be in progress right now as we speak. And it's crazy because, you know, for a fact, there are celebrities running out here trying to cover up, you know, and trying to hide their names, so on and so forth. So it is pretty crazy. And we're going to find, and apparently names are leaking out slowly but surely. So we will be finding out more information. I mean, there's one singer from the group Jodeci that just got named. His name just got dropped in a lawsuit. So there's going to be more coming out because that's not a household name. I'm going to be real. I was like, who? I mean, I know Jodeci, but I was like, who that? You know what I mean? I was like, oh, I like them, but I didn't know they were, you know, more than just one. I'm kidding, but you know what I mean? It's like, I thought they just sang in unison and I don't know their names individually. Okay. Him, I don't even know who he is, but okay. You know, now he's involved. You know what I mean? So it is pretty crazy. But Danny, thank you so much for being on here. I really do appreciate it. You know, it's been one hell of a show. It's been one hell of a day. But guys, please go and check out Danny on Direct or Danny on Direct. Okay. Go check her out. It is at Danny on Direct. Very simple.
It's very straightforward.
Eureka. No, I'm kidding. But yes, it's spelled just like this right here. Okay. Go check her out. Go subscribe. Get her to 15. You know what I mean? Help her get to 15,000. Okay. It's not too much to ask. All right. Very informative. Okay. Lawyer as well. So, you know, she out here esquiring in these streets. Okay. But Danny, I want to say thank you again for being on. I really do appreciate it. I'll be talking to you soon. All right.
Thank you for having me. See you
course.
guys.
Bye. So, guys, yes, of course, another great lawyer. Okay. We had three lawyers on today. Okay. We had one earlier with my boy Ed Herman. Okay. And then we had, of course, Andrea Burkhart. Then, of course, Danny on Direct. Show some love, show some support. Go check them out. Okay, subscribe to them and all that. I know I got a bunch of super chats and all that I'm gonna get to right now as we speak. But again, thank you so much for the support. Checking out the show. It was two big shows, and there's more big conversations, big shows coming up very, very soon. I know you guys like when I bring you know, our friends on, our legal friends as well on the show, and I promise you guys I'm going to try to bring that more. I'm trying to expand and bring other experts on the show of other you know, that wear different hats. You know what I mean? You know, ex-cops, FBI agents, doctors, you know, so on and so forth, therapists, psychologists, etc. You know what I mean? I'm trying to bring in the pros because you guys deserve that. Okay. But Miss HLS, thank you so much. The boyfriend told Talia about the video. Yeah, he did. He most definitely did, allegedly. But that may not be true anymore. But I'm still waiting to see what happens in that particular trial when it actually sees the inside of a courtroom, or if it actually sees the inside of a courtroom. We'll see what happens with that for sure. Sweet Indigo, thank you so much for being a member for the past 34 months. Wow. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for keeping up with the latest news. Thank you so much, Sweet Indigo 45. Okay, King Bob, what up, man? Thank you so much for being a member for the last 7 months. Appreciate it. Pascal, you do awesome work. Keep it up. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you, man. Thank you, Zozo Bob. And I hope everybody's okay. For those of y'all who are watching right now, you know, in a hotel room, you know, outside of the perimeters of where this disaster that just happened due to this Hurricane Milton. I'm praying for you guys. I'm sending you guys nothing but a lot of warm hugs, a lot of warm meals, and a lot of healing vibrations, because I know a lot of people are, there's a lot of a lot of cleaning up and a lot of rebuilding that needs to happen. Okay. So I'm thinking about you guys. Carbonized, thank you so much for the love. Even the dog knows Diddy ain't getting out. Ain't that the truth? Diddy ain't adoptable. He bites. Yeah, he probably does with those veneers. Okay. But Jasmine, thank you so much. Hit the like. A like don't cost a thing. A like don't cost a thing. Yes, it don't. So definitely go check that out. Hit that like button, baby. All right. We're almost at 2K. We're almost at 2K. All right. Please and thank you. Hit that like button. All right. Courtney, thank you so much for being a member for the past month. Thank you for everything you do and the mods to do from Indiana. Oh, thank you so much. And here's a big shout out to the mods for always holding it down. Okay. The shows have just been getting bigger and wilder and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I love it. And I appreciate the mods for just always keeping it professional, always holding it down and doing it as a family. And that's what matters the most. You guys are doing that teamwork very, very well. And I love it. The teamwork be teamworking. Keep at it, mods. I love it. Celeste, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family. And Itty Bitty Diggy, welcome to the family to both of you guys. Thank you so, so much. Chrissy Lee, thank you so much for being a member for 2 years. I'm so nervous, but thank you for all your hard work and keeping us updated. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. Without you guys, I'd be talking to a wall, and that would be weird. Okay. Then I'd have to have conversations with real people about what's wrong with me. Okay. So it's proof that I'm not insane, and I appreciate that. Okay. The fact that you guys are here talking with me. Angie, thank you so much for the love. Pascal, if he gets out, he'd think you were fine. I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that. That gives me nightmares. That's nightmarish. But thank you. Sweet Indigo, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you. Psychic Mara, thank you so much. I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you so very much. Itty Bitty Diggy, thank you so much. Watched you for months. Finally joined the fam. Yes. Congratulations. Welcome to the fam. Thank you so much. I'm glad it only took a few months for you to join. Some people, it takes them a year to finally go, oh, okay, fine, I'll hit the membership, fine. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Buddy, thank you so much. Blackberries, they are highly encrypted. Oh, damn. More than Apple devices. Well, thank you so much for ruining my dreams. I appreciate that. The nostalgia has been ruined by Buddy Love. Thank you so much, Buddy. I'm kidding. But thank you for that info. Urban Warfare, thank you so much. They didn't bring the bail application. No, because it's going on to it's going up. Okay. They're moving it to the Second Circuit. What was it? Second Circuit Court of Appeals. So that's why it wasn't there today. Okay. Just so you guys know. New member. Thank you, Faith, Love, and Hope. FLH. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate it. And Tired as a Mug. Thank you so much for gifting 1 membership. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, wow. Carbonized, thank you so much. Bet you $5 they didn't harass Jaguar afterward. No, they didn't. You want to know why? Here's my theory. And maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. And this is not a dig at Jaguar Wright. Like I said, I think that she has some information, and that some of it could very well be true. But at the same time, I'm still waiting I want to see the proof. I want to see proof, right? She claims to have tapes, by the way. She even said that. I have tapes. I'm like, okay, then let's see the tapes, baby. And also, actually, in fact, I said this on the show too when we watched her video, her interview. If you have the tapes, give them to the feds. Just give them to the feds. Real talk, right? If she got, Angie, if she got receipts, show the receipts to the people that matter, okay? That the people who are investigating the case against Diddy and the case to other people and all that stuff. Go and put it out there. Share it to the people that matter the most. Don't give it to me. You know what I mean? Especially if it has anything depicting a crime, shoot, give it to law enforcement, okay? But one thing is for sure, right? That Jaguar was sitting there, I forgot what I was saying. Listen, okay. So with Jaguar Wright, all right, I'm not sitting here saying that she's wrong. Anything's possible. Show the proof. Give it to the people that matter. That's what matters. But then at the same time, you have somebody who actually made a decision to bring her onto the show. That's the decision that was made. I don't think that there's anything wrong. I don't think there's anything, off kilter for bringing her onto the show. It is very telling that she, it was very telling that what she said, right? But where's the proof? That's all I ask. Where is the doggone proof? If we got proof, then Jay-Z and Beyonce wouldn't be sending out their lawyer dogs, sicking their lawyer dogs out on to Piers Morgan. But here's the thing. Now I remember what I was trying to say. The reason why, and this is no dig at her, but the reason why that they did not go after her afterwards and they went after Piers is Piers. One, he has deep pockets too. He's a millionaire in his own right. And also, the people above him have deep pockets too. Jaguar Wright, she has a little bit of money, I'm sure. I don't know her financial situation, nor do I care. I hope she's financially sound and happy. But at the same time, are they going to go after someone who just, makes some money, gets by, lives a modest life? Or are they going to go after the people who have the big bucks, who have networks and etc., holding it down for the people, for their news reporters and all that stuff, their journalists and whatnot? Think about that. They're like, okay, one way to shut him up is if we get straight to the top. Give a call to Rupert. Hey, Rupert, what's up, man? Your boy Piers had a girl on the show saying some crazy ish. Was not cool. This needs to stop. I'm just saying. It's like Cardi B went after Tasha K. Remember that? When she went after Tasha K? And then Tasha K had to spend a whole bunch of money to pay Cardi B back because Tasha K was talking wireless on these microphones about Cardi B. Now, that is an exception to the rule because Cardi B was like, no, she keeps talking mess and she's making money off of my name and lying on my name. She's making things up and spreading these rumors, and then it's coming back to me every single day. Nah, I'm making an example out of this woman right now. And that's exactly what she did. But as far as Jaguar Wright, I don't think that would have stopped Jaguar Wright from talking. Oh, she got a cease and desist or got a lawsuit for defamation. I think she would have doubled down even harder. That's what I think. And I'm sure she doesn't have enough money, or I'm sure she doesn't have a whole lot of money. So they're like, why go after her money when she ain't got none? But we can definitely go after these media outlets. They got money. Something to think about. I may be inaccurate, but it may be on the nose. I don't know. But like I said, I'm not sitting here saying that Jaguar Wright is not telling the truth. I believe that some of that she's saying is true. I do truly believe that. But what part is she saying that is true? Right? What part of the information that she's been saying out here is 100% backed by proof? I guess the only time will tell, right? Let's be real, okay? But guys, that is the show. Woo! Epic show. Thank you all for being here, being a part of the conversation. I had such a great time, but we got a lot more to talk about. Trust and believe. We got a lot to talk about. We ain't done talking about any of this stuff. Let me close out this Wow. Over 5,700 votes. Wow. That's a lot of people that came through. Okay. 73% of y'all think he will not be granted bail. That's what's up. And I guess we're going to find out soon enough, right? That didn't happen today, but it will happen very, very soon. We're going to be talking about that for sure. But anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all. And thank you so much for the great show stuff. Thank you. You know, this was a big, big show. But I'm really, really appreciative of my legal friends, all of them that came throughout today. It really means the world to me. Because without them coming on, we would have just talked. I would have been talking crazy and that's it. You know, it's nice to have legal expertise, legal commentary onto the show. So again, shout out to Ed Herman, Andrea Burkhart, and of course, Danny On of Danny On Direct. You guys go and check them out. Subscribe to their channels. Show love because they have a plethora of legal knowledge, and I'm sure you'll thank me later. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms, please and thank you. If you're watching on Rumble, Facebook, X, and all the other ones, hit that follow button, hit that like button down below as well. Hit that follow button, follow me on those platforms. Do not forget to subscribe here on my main channel. Go to my second channel, the Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. If you want to become a member over there too, by all means, hit that membership over there as well. That would be amazing. Okay? I got some more videos coming to you guys a little bit later on today. For sure. All right. So make sure the notification bells are set to all on both platforms so you know whenever I go live or whenever I go and upload, because it is random. Okay. If you want to support the channel like a lot of you guys just did, become a member. Okay. Hit that join button down below. Support me even further by going to the Pascal Show Patreon. Patreon.com/The Pascal Show, or you can go to locals.com/The Pascal Show and show some support over there as well. And let's not forget, we also have PascalMerch.com. We got merch, baby. So go over there, show some love, become a member, support, check out my merch, and I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon. Okay, guys, have a great rest of your afternoon. Do something positive. We'll be talking soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. We'll talk soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.